What's up, Teabags? Welcome back to episode 130 of the Terror Table. My name is Mitch, one of your hosts, the regular hosts that you hear every single week, and alongside me, as always, I got my buddy...
Buzi.
That sounds...
It's just getting longer.
Every week, it sounds more like a you're about to nut.
You know, like, I didn't notice that I did it before until you told me, so I've just, like, been playing that up.
And it annoys me every time. I hate it every time. So I'm just like, just say your name.
Well, it sounds too straightforward if it's like Buzi. It's like we're doing an AA meeting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
well, this basically is an AA meeting. At least that's the leading up to it, because I'm always drinking on these episodes. But yeah, we're a horror podcast. We talk about horror movies most of the time. Sometimes we talk about books. Sometimes we talk about... Well, lots of times we'll talk about TV or pretty much anything within the horror genre. So you can expect that today. We're going to talk about a lot of things horror today. But then we're going to end each episode off with an in-depth discussion on something that we've both watched recently. And this week we have decided that we're going to talk about 47 Meters Down Uncaged, which came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
2 weeks ago. And I feel like you and I are the only people on Earth who have seen it. I
think Daniel Epler saw it.
Did he?
I think so.
I don't know if I saw his review or anything, but yeah, we'll talk about it, and hopefully that'll make people decide if they want to go check it out or if they don't, if they want to wait, or well, we'll get to that when we get to it. But before that, we're going to talk about things that we've been up to, things that we've seen. Then we're going to talk about some news, which is going to be presented by our boy Buzi, who likes to read headlines and reports news. But yeah,
I report headlines.
Yes, you're like the. So many shots at arrow in the head. I'm sorry, but like you're like the arrow in the head. We're like the arrow in the head of podcasts. We just decipher what this news could be.
It's like if we're neighbors with somebody and we see them doing something super cool and we have like binoculars, we're watching them. Okay, they're doing that. We don't know all the facts. Yeah. We're just like, I think they're mowing their lawn.
Yeah, I think they're remaking Nightmare on Elm Street this week. We should just start making up our own news at some point.
One thing I say in news is false.
Yeah, that'll be the new question of the week. Which is the news story that Buzi shared that is not true? But yeah, we are the Terror Table. We're presented by the Saskatchewan Podcast Network, who's currently sponsored by Connexus Credit Union. You can check us out. I'm sure you found us now if you're listening, but we are available on there. We're available on iTunes, Stitcher, and all the places
wherever good podcasts are playing.
Yes, it's wherever Podbean uploads us to. We honestly don't fucking know. We're like a venereal disease. we
go in the stream.
Yeah, but you can find us. Yeah, check out Saskatchewan Podcast Network, though. There's a lot of really cool things being done over there. A lot of really awesome other shows, and we're really proud to be a part of that network. And there's a lot of really cool shows on there that I've discovered recently that I'm going to delve into. Like, there's one where
the Regina Pats podcast.
No, did you hear about? There's this one where this guy breaks up with his friends.
on
the podcast.
Hell,
it's on the Saskatchewan Podcast. He's like on CBC now because of it, because like that's a great idea, but he apparently just like, I think he goes through his Facebook group or his Facebook friends and finds them, and then he interviews these people, and then he decides if he's going to take them off his friends list or not. I think that's awesome.
I want to add him.
Yeah, that's so awesome. But yeah, so that's all the fun bullshit out of the way. Now we can talk about normal things, like what we've been up to the past 2 weeks. Thank you for being patient for everyone who was hoping to have an episode from us last week. Buzi and I both had an extremely busy week.
I wasn't even in the city.
Yeah, and I was, but I wasn't in my head. Like there's been some bullshit the last couple weeks, and to say the least, I am so excited to be here sipping on a whiskey and...
Are you going to say rum and eggnog?
I never even know. Whiskey and Coke. I was going to say rum and Coke, but it's whiskey. But I'm just excited to talk about horror movies. That's just as good. Yeah.
I love whiskey.
Oh, whiskey's the best. But yeah, I love to... it makes me randy, baby.
I was going to say, like, if you ever want to fight your sister, just have a big old glass of whiskey, and you're going to be fighting everyone in your family.
Buzi, have you seen anything recently? Because I got a lot. And you're going to listen to every goddamn word I have to say.
I always do. I have a couple things. They're kind of short, so I can get it out of the way, because you apparently have a very large...
Yeah, take your time. Relax. Stay a while.
Okay, so I'm so off on when we recorded last. So over one of the weekends, because I don't remember which one, I went and saw Jurassic Park, because it was back in theaters.
Yes. Was that your first time seeing it in a theater?
Second time.
Second time, okay.
It was weird. It was a Saturday night, and it was like 9:30, and there was 5 people, I think, in the whole thing. And it was, excuse me, it wasn't in one of the large, or small theaters. It was in a large one. Yeah. So I want to say I'm disappointed, but I'm not, because that was like the most intimate full viewing I've ever had of something. And still great. Still love it. It was a good time. I actually yesterday I watched the second Jurassic Park, just because I remember how much I also love that movie.
So would you say, because the thing is, and I think people have come to know this from the Terror Table, is that like, well, one of the reasons we started this podcast is because we want to experience new things in horror.
Yep.
We rewatch a fuck ton of shit.
Yeah.
I love rewatching
you gotta stay to your roots though. But I think it's different if I'm just watching some random thing that I've seen before. It's whatever, but there's like the big, you know what I mean? Like the bigger films that you really hold dear. I would go see Jurassic Park in theaters every week.
Well, yeah. Sometimes you need a safe place. Like when you're like ultra depressed, you want to put on something that you're going to love. So that's why I rewatch a movie every day.
Yeah.
That I love.
You rewatch one movie every day?
No, but bullshit. I do quite a bit. But would you say Jurassic Park's the movie you've seen the most?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's nothing that comes as close. But it's always great to see it on the big screen. I don't know. There's like a weird thing. Like, do I have to say, if you've never seen Jurassic Park, go see it? Because I'm pretty sure everyone has.
Literally everyone. Like, there's no way you haven't seen Jurassic Park.
That's true. I don't think I've ever met anyone who hasn't. Anyway, I'd like to say, though, the sequel is really underrated. Lost World is straight up a horror movie. I don't think people give it enough credit for actually being a straight up horror movie, but it totally is. Way more violent, gruesome than the first movie. It's not better, obviously. It feels like quite a bit of a step down, but compared to some of the other movies that have come in the franchise since then, it's extremely...
It has some good moments, and it's easy to say that it's the second best one.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people disagree with us on, but a lot of people are real dumb.
I go back and
forth.
We're
really smart.
I go back and forth between that one and World, the first World, because it gave me a lot of things I wanted. But then when like the Super Raptor buddy thing happens, I don't like that as much.
Yeah.
Other than that, this must have been 2 weeks ago. I spent like 2 solid days just watching Mindhunter. Okay. I finished all of season 2.
All right, so I did too. Let's just talk. I'm going to join you on this. You share your thoughts and I'll share mine.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to revisit all of the first season. I did watch a couple episodes leading up to it because it came out on a Thursday, I believe, like 2 weeks ago. So the Thursday, I watched half of it Friday night, and then the rest Saturday up until like 5 o'clock. I basically got up at 10 in the morning and just kept watching it. I think it's just as good as season 1. It's a lot less jarring because now we kind of have that framework of what you expect from the show. Yeah. But also, I've seen a lot of people complain about it. It's not as, I guess, violent as the first season. That's
not what the show is.
Exactly. But that's kind of the point I was getting at. Is people were like complaining about how there's not as much detail and all that stuff, and it's like that's never what Mindhunter was about.
No.
It acclimated you to that, but it really is just a series of interviews. And I watched a couple of videos kind of going in depth about it. Is just watch any scene in that show where they interview any of the killers that they interview, especially like the Manson one's really good, and obviously everyone knows that the Ed Kemper one is really good, but you watch how they frame everything and how certain things happen in that movie or happen in that show. And they actually talk about how the Ed Kemper interview in the second season, he establishes dominance over Holden. I believe that's the main character. Holden, like right at the start, and then Holden takes it back by the end, and you'll see these subtle things of like how their facial expressions change or like how their demeanor talking to each other, and that's coupled with your perspective shots. So super well done. I loved it. It's funny is that all of this stuff is based on actual events. Like you know we're looking at who's the main person?
The Atlanta child murder.
Yeah, the Atlanta child murder. Like this
Wayne
is stuff that's
Smith or Wayne Stewart. I can't remember his name.
And this is all stuff that's in history. Like you can Google it in 5 seconds and find out all about it. But you're still watching this show and you're like interested to see how things are going to happen. You already know the outcome, but you're just so excited about watching how it unfolds. And I think that's what makes it super interesting. The only thing that I thought was really cool, but no, in a weird way, kind of a turnoff, was the interactions with, I can't remember the other guy's name. It's Holden,
Bill?
and is it Bill?
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah, Bill and his son and his wife. I find that those interactions sometimes take away from the overall feel of the show, but I understand it is to flesh out those characters, because I feel like we got a lot more of Holden in season 1.
Yeah, way more Holden. I'm rewatching season 1 right now, and it's so Holden centered, and Bill is totally the focal point in season 2.
Yeah, it's Bill Dench, right?
Yeah,
something like that, because that's not the real names of the actual.
Judi Dench. Yes, no, Bill Tench.
Yeah, but it's weird seeing that character get fleshed out more, and you're finding out that backstory, which is super intense.
I fucking love his character. Like, I love Bill so much. So I loved those moments.
He was the straight guy of that show.
Yeah, and I loved those moments of season 2 with Bill, and I loved them delving into like his son being like, because he obviously witnesses something incredibly brutal, and like he's showing signs that they're discovering are signs and serial killers and everything, and he can't connect with his son. And I think that that's like so pretty much ditto everything that you said. I loved it. I think it's just as good, not better, but just as good as the first season. It's more of what you've come to know and love from the show. It is really, like, I know I'm not the first person to say this, but I kept thinking it throughout it, that this is like the Avengers of serial killers, so it's like Buzi's Avengers. Like, it really is, because you're always just like, ooh, who's coming up next? Like, they might have a pre-credits scene of BTK. Like, that's
still the one part in that whole show through the 2 seasons that just baffles me still.
The BTK shit?
Yep.
Yeah, well, because what I'm wondering is, because this takes place in the 70s, and they didn't catch BTK till the late 2000s.
2003.
Like 2003. So, yeah, like early 2000s.
And I'm sure we're not the only geniuses who have figured out that gripe in it.
No.
We're going, well, why are they? That's just.
But I think that that's what's so interesting about it, is because you know that they're not going to catch him.
Yeah.
Like, I love knowing that they're not going to catch him, because that just shows that this shit is still happening. And I'm sure it's almost impossible for it to be happening on the scale that it happened when it was the Green River Killer and BTK and like stuff like that. But it's all because of these guys that we have a way to catch them, or to kind of see signs of this.
It's more of the psyche you can delve into.
Yeah.
And I did like. I think a lot of people would probably see it as a cop out when they threw in the Manson stuff, because overall it doesn't have a lot to do with the main story.
I was shocked.
But so well done, and I think the reason that they did do it is to try and throw that curveball, because you're seeing the not just you as a person watching the show going like, I want to see Manson. It's your characters, like Holden is so excited the whole time to finally meet Manson, so it doesn't.
Yeah, and Bill isn't.
Yeah, and once you actually get to experience him, it was.
I think that's the highlight of the season.
Yeah, it was totally worth it.
I think that scene was the highlight of the season. So I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't seen it. Obviously, they interview serial killers, and you should know by now that Manson is a part of it. BTK, David Berkowitz, Dean Corll's little helper. I can't remember his name.
I love that, because it is fairly true, is that they just fucking rag on Berkowitz, because he was a fucking loser.
He's such a little loser.
Like, I mean, all serial killers are fucking losers, but I don't know, Berkowitz was a special place of being a fucking loser.
I know, he really was. He was like, he would make up. He's like a guy who gives himself his own nickname.
The Dougler.
That's totally what he is. Yeah, like you could call me. It's like if you were to say my name's Buzi. Like, you didn't come up with that. No. People call you Buzi, but yeah, no. So the thing that made season 1 so intriguing was the performance of like Cameron Britton, who played Ed Kemper, like you had mentioned. It's nearly impossible to top him. But the guy who played Manson, who also played him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that
makes me more excited to see that movie.
Oh god, that movie's so good. It's so good. But like, it's not a Manson movie. Like, that's what you gotta like. And I hope I
understand that. I think they sprinkled that to get a certain amount of people into the theater.
It's taking place around the time where that happened. But that Manson scene, I was expecting a lot more this season for Manson, and I'm happy I didn't get it, because what they gave me was perfect, and I don't want any more. I think that was the highlight of the season, especially like the one, like when Bill is getting riled up. I'm like, man, this is as good as the show gets. It's so good. But the BTK scenes were extremely haunting.
It's also amazing how well they did at casting people to play these serial killers who look strikingly. The Atlanta
Berkowitz,
child murderer looked, it's like to a T.
Remind me to talk about this off air because I need to say something to you that I'm not going to say on air about the Atlanta child murderer. This sounds horrible, but I promise it's about someone that you and I know that I'm just personally not going to bring it up.
I have one question for you, though. Yeah. How amazing was the last shot of season 2 with BTK?
Yeah.
That it's so
it's
good. Hard to put into words.
But isn't it like that's what I was saying, that I love that they're not going to catch him, but it's also the biggest form of blue balls to give us like this BTK shit just building and building and building.
Well, because I didn't expect that to happen, but they did sprinkle that because that was the very first thing you see at the start in the first episode of season 2, and that's the very last thing you see.
Yeah,
and that doesn't ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen the show.
No.
You know, they don't catch him yet. There's like
that's
40 years.
That's kind of like the best part about talking about Mindhunter is you can't spoil it unless if you're one of those severe neckbeards where he's going to be like, well, I didn't know that. It's just like, well, I feel like most people who are watching Mindhunter, and also it's 2019, the entire world's into true crime right now. Like that's why podcasts are successful, is because people are so obsessed with true crime.
We picked the wrong avenue. We should have been true crime podcast.
Yeah, fuck that. But that's what I actually kind of wanted to talk to you about, is like you have to remind yourself that this show is in a way making these psychopaths' legacy stronger, but it doesn't make them any less interesting. So it makes them, it's so interesting to watch, and I feel like this show does a good job at not exploiting them to, it definitely is exploitive, because that's the whole purpose of the show.
I think it would be a lot more exploitive if they showed more of the actual violence. They shy away from that so much where
it's continuing to make them rock stars, though, in a sense. Like obviously the only way that you'll look at them is if like the only way that you'll look at them in a good light is if you are a psychopath yourself, which is something that would have happened before you started watching the show anyways. But it's just like, it's one of those things where more like, obviously I have no morals, so I don't give a fuck, but I'm just like, this is one of those shows that I'm like kind of surprised. I'm not surprised because it's so hot, like true crime is so hot right now, but I'm surprised it doesn't get a little bit of it.
But like, when is true crime never hot? That's kind of the thing. It's always been interesting. You even have like, look way back when like Richard Ramirez had like and Ted Bundy, all these guys had women clamoring at the fucking prison gates for them. It's not to that same level now, but there is that there's a very base interest from people in mortality, and serial killers play on the ideals of mortality and controlling those things. That's what it's always going to be interesting. I don't think there's ever going to be a period in time where collectively as a mass people are going to go, I really don't want to hear anything about Ted Bundy.
No, it's never.
It's always going to be
it's always going to be interesting too, though. Like yes, they are awful humans who don't deserve any recognition, but it's human nature to be curious about these things as to like why they are the way that they are. And I feel like the way that this show is filmed and the way they are portrayed, I feel like it's about as good as it gets in that regard, and I think that they do a really good job. I think it's a phenomenally filmed show, directed and edited like beyond standard television. Like every episode looks like it's a Fincher episode, even though he only did I think 2 episodes or 2 or 3 episodes or something like that. But
I don't know. I don't think it grandizes any of these people. It doesn't make them larger than life, because even look at Ed Kemper. The way I look at him, and I'm sure I'm not the first person who's made this correlation, but like he reminds me of how people explain like great whites, where they just go around and they're constantly on the loose, and you never know when they're just going to attack. They have no reason or motive. They're just all of a sudden they're going to bite you, and that's what he feels like. He doesn't feel like a real person. He feels kind of like just this predator that just,
I think he's like the most deceiving of them all too, because like the whole climax of the first season is like him like Holden having an anxiety attack or whatever and taking his life back basically from him. But I don't want to spoil anything. It's so good. I loved it. We both loved it. Both loved it. Okay, is that everything you saw?
Yes.
Okay, obviously I saw a lot of things. I had a very Manson-heavy couple of weeks, so I'll talk about that. But first, I just want to say, because it's not a horror movie, but it is an insanely dark comedy. I mentioned last episode that the Saskatoon Fantastic Film Festival was presenting The Art of Self-Defense, which is an insanely dark comedy from it's starring Jesse Eisenberg. It's the director of a film called Fault, which I saw a couple years ago, which was awesome as well. or I really liked Faults. It's like a deprogramming cult movie with a Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
That's an interesting idea.
Leland Orser. It's really good. I think you'd like it. But yeah, Faults. Riley Stearns is his name. But The Art of Self-Defense is basically, it's exactly my kind of comedy. It's like super dry and deadpan, but super brutal. And like I can't put into words just how dark it is, like how dark it gets. But it's Jesse Eisenberg plays this character who he was born to play. I've never considered myself a fan of Jesse Eisenberg ever. Like I've always been like, he's good at what he does, but sometimes it gets old because he just plays himself in all these movies. This is the first
kind of like he's got like that Michael Cera syndrome.
Yeah, but this is him at his absolute peak. He will never do better than this because this role was like made for him, and he plays this like basic pushover dude who he's not an auditor. What the fuck? He's an accountant, and he goes to get his dog food one night, which is a dashant, like a little like he's just a meek little dude.
He has all the meek characteristics. Yeah,
and he goes to grab his dog some food one night, and he gets brutally beat up by a gang of bikers, and it drives him to decide to take karate classes. He finds himself
80s bikers.
No, it's all like modern day, but it is, man, as someone who has gone, like I grew up in karate and martial arts classes, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, all that kind of shit, is this movie gets like all of those elements so goddamn on the nail is hit directly on the head, and it is hilarious, and it's so like, I don't know how they keep a straight face through all this. Like this movie was incredible. It was awesome. It was one of the best movies I've seen this year. So I'd say keep an eye out for it because, like I said, Jesse Eisenberg was at his peak here. Our group of friends that went to see it. We're all talking about it for a solid hour and a half afterwards. Super funny. Imogen Poots of Green Room is in it as well, and she's great. It's a very different dissection on toxic masculinity and like specific types of people that we all know that probably still take karate classes. And it's just fucking awesome. It was so good, so keep an eye out for that. Other than that, like I said, had a very Manson heavy couple weeks. I had a chance to check out Mary Harron's new film, Charlie Says, which is that Mary Harron, she's the director of American Psycho, and this is the...
right, okay.
Yeah. Have you heard about this movie? So It's got Matt Smith from Doctor Who plays Charles Manson, and this whole movie, I feel like it's safe to say that this is the definitive Charlie Manson movie, and there's a lot of...
Wow, that's a...
But no, like, I don't consider The Strangers a Manson movie. Like, no. It's inspired and everything, but like... And I wouldn't say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a Manson movie, but it's just, as far as movies go where they're dissecting the whole idea of Charles Manson and how for me, the most interesting part about Manson, because he was a pussy and he's a complete loser, the most interesting part about him is how he managed to convince all of these people to follow him, and what made him so enticing, and like what that era of time had to do with him being able to exploit these people and to take control of them and to have them thinking the way that he does.
I understand what you're saying. It's like, as much as he was a product of his time, you also have to think that whatever specific set of skills he had to control these people is not something very many people are born with.
No, he definitely had it, but it definitely helps.
Like I'm not trying to give him credit, but like, you have to be a certain level.
He's sort of a genius.
Yeah,
like in his own right, he's sort of, but it also But
he was also like a huge drug addict. So
yeah, well, they all were. He had them all on drugs. Like that's the kind of things that you're going to be able to see explored in this movie. For the most part, like I think, like the best part about this movie is they didn't sexy up Manson.
Yeah,
this wasn't sexy Manson, and like all the Manson girls weren't like. You know, I'm going to talk about another movie where they basically had Instagram models playing Manson followers, like Sadie and everything, and it's hilarious. But this one, I feel like they did a really good job casting it, and really well acted across the board. I'm personally one of those guys, like, I'm not a Doctor Who fan, but I know that there are Doctor Who fans. I'm probably Lana who find Matt Smith attractive, but he's just not.
Is he not attractive? Lana likes him.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. No offense.
No,
she thinks Adam Sandler's attractive.
It's just every single time that I've heard a lot of people who find Adam Sandler attractive, but she's thought Tanner Zipchin was attractive, so no, but and I know Lana's probably losing it right now, but it's just the thing is that basically every time that we've ever said someone's not attractive on the show, Lana has said that they are attractive. Yeah. So it's become like an ongoing joke here. But the movie itself, it feels very real and raw, and that's the best part about it. And like I said, it touches on all the interesting. It's not a slasher movie. There are brutal moments near the end, and I think that Mary Harron did a really good job at not making it a disgusting depiction of what happened. Like, she wasn't capitalizing on the fact that these were brutal murders that she could make scary scenes out of. This isn't. It's not a straight up horror movie.
It's part of this. It's part of the story. It's not the focus of the story.
No, and it's not a horror movie. Like, you're like, I'm talking about it on a horror podcast because I feel like people who watch horror movies could be interested in this. But this isn't a movie where they're like crafting the scare at the end, where like the Mansons are like the Manson cult are creeping around the Tate house or the LaBianca house. It more so just shows how ugly it was and how far gone these people were who ended up partaking in this. So
they talk about him trying to start a race war.
Yes, they talk like that's
here's such a stupid half-baked idea.
I know, and that's the thing. Is like I read Helter Skelter. I've watched enough documentaries on Manson, so like I feel like I don't think that I know everything about Manson, but pretty much everything that I do know was covered in this movie. And so it's like even sprinkled in, like he talks about the Beatles and everything. Yeah. I feel like it's a movie. I know you're not overly interested in Manson, but I'd be interested to hear what you think of it. Because I just thought overall it was a well-made movie. It's not one that I don't know when the next time is I'm going to rewatch it. It's not that type of movie. But it's very good. I think
going back to what you said before, the thing that makes Manson such a big name and so recognizable and why people are so interested in him is his personality and all the things he did. He lived he lived a very hard life, and obviously he turned it into some terrible things, but you have to look at it as he's just such a fascinating person.
He's so fascinating. I find egomaniacs fascinating. Mm-hmm. He's such an egomaniac, and like how he like it sucks to say, but like some of it is laughable. Like, you will giggle probably a couple times when Charlie says, because it's so absurd that he had people on board with this shit. And like, it's well documented now that this is not like a Hollywood movie. This isn't a movie that they're trying to capitalize on all of the brutal parts of Manson. It's just like, no, it's showing how he really was and how the whole crew was and how that whole operation went down at that spaghetti western ranch that he kept everyone at. It was really good. So I recommend, once again, that's Charlie Says. So that was the better Charles Manson movie I watched. I watched 40 minutes of The Haunting of Sharon Tate.
Oh, why?
Because it's on Amazon Prime.
I like how you were watching things and we're talking them all tastefully.
Yeah.
Like The Haunting of Sharon Tate.
Okay, so for a couple of reasons. You won't find a guy who had a bigger crush on Hilary Duff as a kid.
Oh, you're about to say Sharon Tate.
No.
Like, weird person to have a crush on.
Well, she was gorgeous.
Posthumous crush.
Yeah, she was gorgeous. But no, Haunting of Sharon, it's fucking atrocious. Like, it's
Wait, Hilary Duff's in it?
Hilary Duff is Sharon Tate.
Like Hilary Duff, who
like
just got
Lizzie
renewed
McGuire.
to do Lizzie McGuire.
Yes.
Woo! Oh, that's weird.
No, we're excited for it.
No, but it's weird that she did that.
I know. Yeah, like so that's one of the reasons. I was like, okay, first of all, this is a prime example of something that is so incredibly tasteless. To even title a movie The Haunting of Sharon Tate is about as lowbrow as you can get, for my money.
I feel bad for everyone who's involved with it.
The Tate all
family.
Of them.
No, I mean like the Tate family.
Oh, yeah.
They've gotten constantly dragged through the mud, and I'm sure they've gone through so many legal battles with people. Like, get my name out your mouth.
Exactly. Yeah, get my name. I don't understand how these people thought that this would be a good idea to be in this movie. Like, I don't understand it at all. Like, there's no other reason than, oh, Manson, he's kind of, true crime's
kind of hot right now.
True crime's kind of hot, yeah. But the other reason why I want to give it a shot is because it's directed by Daniel Farrens, who Daniel Farrens has directed both Never Sleep Again and Crystal Lake Memories, two of the best horror movie documentaries you can find. But the thing is, what I thought about after this, because I was like, how did he make such a trash piece of garbage movie and make Never Sleep Again, which is like probably one of my favorite documentaries ever made. Like, it's flawless. The thing is, Never Sleep Again and Crystal Lake Memories, the material does the work itself. It's, you know, all the interviews that are interesting about it. That's what it's not like it's super well shot or anything.
Yeah, you have to weave your story within that. Yeah, you're a storyteller at that point.
Never Sleep Again was very well put together. Crystal Lake Memories is good, but it's not even close to as good as Never Sleep Again. But also the Jason franchise isn't as interesting as the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. It's very interesting, but Never Sleep Again, like, if for some reason you haven't seen that and you like Freddy or you like horror movies at all, it's on Shudder. Watch it. It's 4 hours long, so watch it in pieces. They spend a half an hour on each movie. I've watched it like 6 times. Like that 4 hours. It's so good. It's so good. I put it on whenever I don't know what to watch. Daniel Farran's also directed the Amityville Murders, which I turned off a few weeks ago. That's the new Amityville movie that's on Netflix.
He is just so highbrow.
I know.
Good for him
for
going after original titles.
Here's the thing.
Taking the high road.
I made it, I think, 16 minutes into the Amityville Murders. I'm like, no, you know what? Life's too short. Like, I don't need to do this. I'm not the target demographic for this. Granted, it is a movie about what I've always said that I'm like, I always want to see an Amityville movie about the actual DeFeos, and that's what this is. And they have a whole bunch of, like, the cast from, like, Amityville 2 is in it, like the creepy dad, and like they have like one of the kids, but they play different characters. Yeah. But so there's all these people from the Amityville franchise. I don't know what I'm talking about. The movie, I got 16 minutes and I had to turn it off. I made it 40 minutes into Haunting of Sharon Tate, and I think that might be a record for anyone who wasn't obligated to watch this movie. Like, for people, because
if there's like a statistic, you would be the 1%.
Yeah, well, it was like, I know for a fact Chris Hardwick had to watch this movie because his wife is in it. I can't even remember her name, but she's in The Haunting of Sharon Tate. So I'm like, oh, that dude had to watch all of this. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to. But
is that like when you? I assume he had to, like, you know, when you grit your teeth through a present you get for like Christmas or your birthday. Wow, thanks.
I know.
I'm sure that's what it was. Yeah. How'd you like the movie? He's like, wow, really great.
Yeah, I know. It's exactly what
you all worked very hard.
Yeah, well, I think you did a great job, kiddo. You'll get them next time.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. You never directly say anything about it. You just go like, you guys all did your jobs.
No, it's awful. It's tasteless. The acting is horrible. The directing is horrible. I watched 40 minutes. I feel like I know that you should technically watch a whole movie.
I'm sure there was only like another 20 to 30 minutes.
I had other bullshit to watch, which I'll tell you what I watch after this. But the last thing I'll say about it, the only positive thing about The Haunting of Sharon Tate is that it had Jonathan Bennett in it, who plays Aaron Samuels in Mean Girls, and it made me want to watch Mean Girls again, and I watched Mean Girls again, and it is just as good the 60th time as it was the first time. You're the 1% who's never seen it. Hey,
what?
Mean Girls.
I've seen Mean Girls multiple times.
Okay, so I thought someone said they haven't seen Mean Girls. Okay,
I've seen Mean Girls within like the last 8 months.
Man,
I'm sure.
It's so good. It's so good. It gets funnier every time. But yeah, so that's the last thing I'll say about that. So fuck that movie. Avoid it. You don't need to watch it. The other bullshit I needed to watch instead of that was Courtney really wanted to watch the 1999 remake of The Haunting. This is the one that has Catherine Zeta-Scarn, Liam Neeson. You missed Catherine Zeta-Scarn, Threat Level Midnight. Oh, well, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, no, it was like in my head. I was like, Scarn, Michael Scarn. Why is he saying this?
Yeah, Catherine Zeta-Scarn. No, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Liam Neeson, Owen Wilson.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a remake of The Haunting and also The Haunting of Hill House, but in 1999. Exactly. And this is
with the big glass room or whatever.
No, I think you're thinking of Haunting of the House on Haunted Hill.
Is that one?
Yeah, that's what I think you're thinking of. The Haunting, I'll show you here.
Is it's also the one with Lily Taylor. Really bad CGI?
Yes.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Lily Taylor, Bruce Dern, just a fucking Virginia Madsen, like absolute all-star cast. Incredible cast. And I remember this movie being so bad. Like, but it's one of those movies that was on TBS all the time, and like Superstation.
I think that's one of those movies that you keep giving it chances. Like, at some point you're going to turn it on, and there'll be a different movie playing, and you'll be like, "Oh, okay, I get it."
That's what I've been doing with Man of Steel for years. So I keep on being like, maybe it'll be a different movie this time.
We all have those movies where it's just like, it's going to be good this time. Yeah. I'm going to like it.
It's like the new Jurassic World is pretty much that. But yeah, like I can say I lost count, but the wow count, the Owen Wilson wow count was at 3 within 15 minutes. So wow. Nerd slur voice. The house is a character in this movie. Like, even the house is a character. You see this. Okay. I love the original The Haunting. I think The Haunting of Hill House was the best thing in horror last year. I think it's incredible. I loved everything that that shirt-wearing motherfucker Mike Flanagan did with that show.
Shirt-pool-wearing motherfucker.
It's so good. I love it. The original is a movie that I revisit every single October. It's like a Halloween staple in our household. I love it. This is a movie that I remember being incredibly bad, but I always watched it because it was always on. It's bad, but it's not as bad as I remember. But that's also
not saying much.
No, it's definitely, like, take that with a heavy grain of salt, because the last time I watched this movie, I had fury flowing through my veins because this movie is exactly the problem with major budget Hollywood movies. But that's also what makes it kind of entertaining to watch now, knowing that it sucks. Is like, look at this cast. Look at this beautiful, huge cast that we have for this movie. All like, even at this point, like, I guess, yeah, they were all stars. Liam Neeson had done Schindler's List, and
you can look at it the same way though. There was that weird time in the '90s. You could look at it the same as Anacondas or Deep Blue Sea, where they took these cast of all these recognizable people who probably shouldn't have been in these movies.
Also, fuck you, Johnny, for the 2-star review on Anacondas.
Yeah, fuck you.
Fuck
anyway, it's that idea of, like, there was a time when it was really hot to get all these, like, famous actors to just be in a horror movie.
It'll sell itself.
And yeah, exactly. It sells itself, whether it's a good horror movie or not. Obviously, we like Deep Blue Sea and Anacondas, but there was that time where everyone was like, okay, we have to have you guys doing a horror movie in your resume.
Exactly. And, like, it's a type of movie. That's the thing, is a lot of the times the reason to make horror movies is because they're cheaper and they make a fuck ton of money because people want to go out and be scared and they want to go on dates and stuff like that. Like, that is why horror, that's one of the many reasons why mainstream horror is so successful and one of the more successful genres. But the thing about this movie is it's loaded to goddamn hell with CGI. Like, wall-to-wall CGI. Almost like every 10 minutes there's an insane scene of just, like, awful CGI. But, like, it's like 1999 bad. So it's not as bad as, like, say, Brain Scan or something like that, but it's like,
why are you hating on Brain Scan?
No,
That's a fun movie.
No, I love Brain Scan, and I love garbage CGI like that. I love that. But the thing is, this is a major Hollywood movie that they're expecting people to get scared of. I know that I threw some shade at another podcast host last week for saying that CGI will never be scary. But it's like this, though. This is like a prime example of the original The Haunting was scary basically on... It was scary because the imagery and the mood that it built, the dialogue, the atmosphere, all of that was done without anything jumping out at you, or it wasn't a jump scare movie. It was just a classic horror film.
Well, we talked about this, I think, last episode with, like, Black Christmas. Where
exactly.
They did everything right that you don't need, which is a lot lacking in a lot of movies today.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I'm not opposed to jump scares. I'm fine with jump scares. I love the Insidious movies. Those are fine. But the thing is, when you're remaking a movie like The Haunting, which is famous and so successful because of being creepy without having to make the bedroom wall literally turn into a face and start talking to a woman. Like, it's so bad.
Okay, so imagine, like, the face comes out and it's going to talk to a woman, but instead it's that scene from Pet Detective where it's just him using his butt to talk.
Yeah. Oh man, that would make this movie so much better. There's so many ridiculous
Jason
scenes.
Hamill, can you
Yeah, Jason Hamill, get to work. But yeah, I don't know, like, I was pleasantly surprised that wasn't as bad as I remember, but it's like, that's also just because the last time I was so mad, and now I'm just too old to get mad like this anymore. Like, fuck it, whatever. It's just not a great movie.
You just turned into Clint Eastwood all of a sudden.
I don't know. I've seen get off my lawn.
I'm mad for no reason.
Yeah. I've seen plenty worse, but this is just a prime example of Hollywood just trying its very best to stuff your face with bullshit. Just be like, just take it. This is scary. Look at all these hot actors. Take it.
Owen Wilson's funny.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson's mean.
Yes. Liam Neeson's hot.
Was he ever hot?
Man, I think Liam. This sounds bad, but I think my dad kind of looks like Liam Neeson, and I think that's why I like him because.
Okay.
Like, not to say I like my dad, but like, I'm just saying like my dad's kind of like the grizzled. I like to think of him as the grizzled badass who could protect me if need be, but I know that Kurt Russell would kick the living fuck out of him, so I don't know. But I know Liam Neeson's a good-looking dude. Lana, get at us. How's Liam Neeson? Okay, I have one left. Holy shit. Okay, last but not least, I finally got around to seeing Cruising. Have you heard about Cruising?
Cruising USA, the game for N64?
Bingo, that's exactly what I'm here to talk about. No, Cruising is I'm reading the Wikipedia now.
Okay.
Cruising,
that's why you can tell in your voice when it changes.
Yeah.
Cruising is a
1980 American erotic crime thriller written and directed by William Friedkin. Who directed The Exorcist, The French Connection, and starring Al Pacino, Paul Sorvino, Karen Allen, and it's loosely based on the novel of the same name by New York Times reporter Gerald Walker, about a serial killer targeting gay men, particularly those associated with the leather scene in the late 1970s. What?
Sorry, you just like kickstarted my brain. Do you mind if I just throw something in there? Well, because you mentioned this is on a serious note. You just reminded me of it. Last week on Thursday, the I-95 killer was sentenced to death, and he was doing the exact same thing.
BDSM shit?
Not that one. He was picking up gay men on the I-95 quite a bit, and he this is a weird tangent I got on because
like when did this start? I know nothing about this guy.
He got caught in like I think it was the 70s. He's been on death row forever.
Oh shit.
But anyway, right now, pay attention to Florida. I don't know. I think it's who passes the death penalty. Is that the DA? I'm not good with politics, but whoever's doing the legislature for death row has been cleaning house. There's been like 6 in the last couple months, and yeah, I-95 killer was one. There's a couple other serial killers that are on death row right now that
clean up in aisle 7.
Except for he's doing like lethal injection. That's no fun. Like cook him a little bit.
Man, have you there was that Sword and Scale episode I listened to about the most painful ways of like what's it called when you die by the law.
Execution.
Execution, there's another word for it that makes it sound...
Forced euthanization.
It makes it sound smarter, but I can't remember. No, but apparently lethal injection is like the most painful.
That and
they set
gas.
they set you on fire from the inside out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so rest in peace, David Gale.
Yeah, fuck you. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to derail that whole thing. It sent me on this tangent of like, the I-95 killer's dead. Go check that out on Wikipedia if you find it interesting.
Hell yeah, rest in peace, scumbag. The title is
do we want him to rest in peace? Rotten piss.
I'm gonna kill him, let him sleep. Or no, I can't do it. I was gonna quote Drake. The title, Cruising... Okay, Cruising can describe police officers cruising on patrol and gay men who are cruising for sex. So yeah, that's what cruising is about.
Why is it just specifically gay men? Like if I went out cruising for sex, yeah, it's not called cruising for me.
What do you call it? Like chasing trim?
Like I don't know how to. I don't think there's a nice way to be like, yeah, bro, I'm out on patrol right now. Yeah. Pussy patrol. Yeah, pussy. And then I high five.
I'm in the FBI, bro. Female body inspector. Yo, I'm a mammary gland test. You know those guys who wear those? Fucking idiots. No, we just call it looking for love.
Yeah.
Yeah, we look for love. That's what we do at the Tear Table. But yeah, so this movie, though, never seen it before because I've always wanted to see it, but it's always been one that has been hard to get a hold of. But it recently had a new release on Blu-ray, and it had a DVD release, but I don't think it was, for me, it was hard to get a hold of at the time.
I'm assuming it was like super limited. I've never heard of this movie.
You've never heard of it?
No.
Yeah, because this is a movie that I think you would dig, but it's essentially a slasher film.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it'd be more of just a straight crime drama.
That's
especially with Al Pacino being in it?
Al Pacino and William Friedkin.
Yeah.
Like, there's straight up slasher scenes in this movie, and like it's just like, it's a really sleazy ass film. Like it's super sleazy, some genuinely tense scenes, lots of guy on guy BDSM. There's actually a fisting scene. Did I Snapchat you that? Because I Snapchatted it to a bunch of people.
No, not that I know.
Because there was one scene where this guy actually douses his hand in what looks like butter, like baseball margarine, and he slides it up a guy's butthole. But I don't know. I just think that's pretty hardcore.
Is there like really good Foley effects for it too?
Yeah, well, like, no, all you do, you see the guy kind of be like, whoo, and like, I'm all for that. I just think it's cool. It's interesting to think of a movie that was released in 1981 that featured straight up a dude putting his hand in a man's asshole. Like, it'd be weird anyway.
Is this okay? This is the cover.
That's the cover.
This looks like Stallone. This looks like fucking Sly on the front.
I know, it does look like Stallone. But man, Pacino, he was kind of like ahead of his time in a sense where like he wasn't a gay man in Dog Day Afternoon, but it's all about like him trying to get like steal money for his. Have you seen Dog Day Afternoon?
No.
Put that at the top of your list for list of shame, because that is a fucking phenomenal movie. Dog Day Afternoon.
Adding so many things now.
Yeah, watch Dog Day Afternoon and put on fucking Rosemary's Baby, you piece of shit. You're on a horror podcast 130 episodes in and you've never seen Rosemary's Baby. Ugh. But no, yeah, this movie it's pretty crazy, but you can feel Friedkin's stamp in a few spots, but for the most part it's just like a really sweaty crime slasher. Like, it feels like just a little bit above. No, it's like below crime thriller, but a little bit above slasher in terms of like taste.
It's a weird nook to be in.
It is. It's weird, and I understand why this movie had like such a troubled production, but it received a ton of backlash from the LGBT community for its apparent depiction of homosexuality. But I think it's because like, there was a lot of people.
You just talked about a whole scene about fisting.
Yeah, but
and them going, ooh. I'm sure if someone was describing my sexual life like that, I would feel a little embarrassed as well. I'd feel angered.
Okay, I wasn't meaning to anger anyone.
No, I'm not saying no you do it, but like for the LGBT community to be angry about it, I understand if that's a scene in there. And they're like,
you know what? Maybe I didn't go about it the best way. Maybe, but I'm gonna.
Are you saying we didn't go around the right way for something?
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank fuck, like barely anyone listens to this. But no, but yeah, like it's the thing is, yeah, the LGBT, there was like a portion of the LGBT community who really didn't want this movie to happen because of the way they was depicting homosexuality, and like it was basically, and when you watch the movie you can understand that to a degree because he's focusing on the BDSM community and like the underground leather bars. And the thing is though, those leather bars, all of those scenes in the movie, like all of the extras, all of the actors in there are openly gay men who would go to these bars, and they like helped him make it authentic. Like Friedkin he very rarely recorded or made movies on sound stages or anything. He would go out into the streets, and like that's why he's the director.
The real gritty shit.
Yeah, that's how he'd get fucking masterpieces like The Guardian.
Man, the whole time you were talking about the whole BDSM scene, I was trying to find a way to fit Rob Halford into there, but I just couldn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just couldn't. Like, you just ride in on a bike at some point in this bar. Yeah. Oh, it's Rob. How's Iron Maiden doing? Or not Iron. Fucking Judas Priest.
Yeah, Judas Priest. How's Metallica going?
Not in that band, but thanks.
There goes that Alice Cooper guy. Oh, kids. No, but yeah, most of the extras, so there is a lot of people who are down for it. But the thing is, I think it's because, especially at the time, that this wasn't the public discussion, unfortunately, the way that it is now.
Yeah.
And like, you know, people weren't like there was some major, like there was obviously there was some hate crimes that were committed that were surrounded around this movie.
Okay.
That a lot of people think that this movie caused it, but really there's just a couple of people who were psychotic before it even happened. But this movie definitely triggered them to do some pretty heinous things. It's a pretty great movie, but it's very weird. Like, I don't know how. It's different. You experience cruising. You don't like, I can't say I loved cruising, but I'm like, you know what? It was a good
adventure.
It's a different movie, and I think that like I can understand how people will be upset, like how the LGBT community could be upset that dumbasses could watch this and be like, oh, this is how all gay people are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a part of, like, it's centered. I don't know. I'm not the right guy to talk about this, I guess, because I'm a fucking moron. But overall, I thought it was a pretty cool movie that I'm happy I saw. Won't watch it for a very long time, but if you're looking for an erotic crime thriller that borders the line of a slasher, Al Pacino, William Friedkin's Cruising.
I'm honestly sold.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what you think about, because it's sweaty. You'll know what I mean when it's just the whole movie just feels like it's sweating.
I want that to just be, you know, on the back of old VHSs
Oh,
when it would have the
sweaty,
quotes.
dude.
Yeah, it's sweaty.
It's pretty sweaty, dude. So I've been pretty depressed. So that's made me watch
pretty
a lot
sweaty and pretty depressed.
Yes, so it's made me watch a lot of movies again. So I have two last ones I'm going to get out of the way. First, I'm going to say, like, I'll start with this one. So I went and saw Ready or Not, which is the new movie from the Radio Silence guys.
I'm honestly dying to hear your review of this. I haven't looked at Letterboxd. I want to know.
Have you seen everyone else's reviews? Like, have you seen what the world is saying about this movie?
Honestly, I kind of haven't. I've been keeping my head low.
Okay,
I'm like that bird that puts his head in the dirt.
I'm hopefully going to send you into this movie in the best possible mind state that you can be, because this is a really good movie. It's a Ready or Not was fucking really good. I personally didn't have the mind-blowing experience that a lot of people have had from this movie. Like, I listened to an episode of The Boo Crew, which is a horror podcast I listen to. They're now on Bloody Disgusting, but they had Samara Weaving and what's his fucking name? Seth Cohen. Say his name. Guy from the OC. Adrian Brody.
Why would I know? Why are you asking me like I would know? I've never seen this.
You never watched the OC?
No.
Oh, I watched the OC lots. Loved
I didn't
Seth
have
Cohen.
sisters.
I didn't. Or I did, but that's not why I watched it.
Hold up.
But no, like this is a movie. Okay, so that's okay. So here's the thing: guys on the Boo Crew were saying, and you know what? It's my own goddamn fault for listening to them because, and like,
of course they're gonna hype it up.
No, but like these guys hype it to a whole nother level.
I've listened to 2 episodes of the Boo Crew, and they've hyped the shit.
Oh man, well they were saying the Winchester was fucking incredible, and I'm like, man, I couldn't even get through that movie. But they were saying it just had me excited because I'm like, I've yet to have that experience this year besides Crawl, where a movie has just really wowed me. And Ready or Not's one that I was so excited for, and it's great. It's really good. So
Chucky didn't, or
Child's Play was good. It's good.
Child's Play wowed me.
It didn't wow me, but it was like, hey, thank God I didn't fucking hate it.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Surprised I didn't hate it. I like Child's Play, but for me, like the highlight of the year is Crawl. And honestly, Ready or Not's probably second or third so far. Like, so it's, keep in mind while I'm talking about my review, really good. Boo Crew was like, this is one of the most memorable and best horror movies of the last 20 years. I'm like, okay, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait for this. Like, it's apparently super original. Oh my God, I can't wait. That wasn't the experience I had for me. I think it was really good. There's obvious comparisons to be made to You're Next, and that's very much deserved.
That's what I saw the whole time was another You're Next.
Exactly. And I don't know, I think anyone who says that there isn't a comparison to You're Next is like a hot take king or queen. It's very similar in theme and tone. It's not executed as well, but since people have been I feel like since people have been showered with mediocrity this year, this is a big breath of fresh air.
Right.
So like it's definitely a highlight this year, and you should be excited to see it, and you should go see it because it's a good movie. But I don't know. I think if you get like the highlights in the movie are Samara Weaving, she's really good. The rest of the characters, like, it's genuinely funny. Sometimes it has a really wicked ass ending. Granted, I don't mean to sound like that dipshit who says that I could call everything, but it's pretty obvious from almost the very beginning what direction it's going to go.
Well, and they give away a lot in the trailer.
You see 80% of the movie in the trailer.
That's what I hate about trailers now. Is it's fine if you show, even Crawl had this problem where you can show like, oh, maybe somebody's in danger, but Crawl gave you like 3 or 4 people right off the bat are going to get chopped in the movie.
Yeah, you literally see like 3 or 4 kills in the trailer. So that's a big portion. That's a big portion of this movie, and a lot of it is the setup and how this family, like this woman Samara Weaving, she marries into this family who has like they're of a gaming dynasty background, and they have like they go back in time through like I don't want to spoil anything else. They have to do with board games and stuff like that. Like the
Monopoly Empire.
They make tons of money off of this shit. But I think this movie is seriously a very good horror movie, and it stands a cut above the rest, especially in terms of this year. But maybe I'm just going through some shit, but maybe I'm right. This is just a super solid movie, but by no means anything new or to the genre. It's nothing that really blew me away or anything like that, but I think it's an entertaining movie, which is great. It's good. That's what you should want. But if you guys everyone who's like just so in love with Samara Weaving in this movie, who's great, and this isn't a shot at I know it sounds like it's a shot at our listeners, but it's the entire world. The entire world, it seems, and I'm excited that people are excited, but for me it's like it kind of it's my own fault for buying into the hype and everything. I'm disappointed that I can't be with you guys and being like, wow, like just fucking in love with this movie. Like I thought it was good, but like Samara Weaving was fucking awesome in Mayhem. She was awesome in The Babysitter. She's just proven to be a star. She's going to be a star. She's great. Seth Cohen, Adrian Brody plays himself once again. He's depressed and like makes sarcastic comments, and you know, people die, but it's the whole movie. I was like, yeah, this is good. It's good. And then the ending, I was like, oh, sweet. That was a pretty wicked ending. And then I was like, fuck, I want to watch You're Next again.
And you did.
And I did.
And you did.
And I did. But yeah, so I don't know. Like, I just think go into it being like you're going to go see a good horror movie. But like, I'm so happy that people, and I'm so happy people are loving it. For me, it was good.
Okay. Well, that's kind of a bummer because
don't let it bum you.
No. I just for you personally.
Yeah.
It feels like that's a movie that should have been like, wow, I really saw a great movie.
Yeah. Well, I did see a great movie. It's a good movie. It's really good. But I don't know. There's something. I feel like it's just. I sound like a fucking dickhead, but I was a couple steps ahead of it. I knew exactly where it's going. Most of that is because I saw it in the trailer. I liked the whole theme and the setting. Like, that was cool. The characters were interesting, but this happens all the time because I listen to every episode of Your International. I feel like I'm taking David, like, because me and David talked about it after we saw it, because him and I both seem to almost always agree, but we had like an hour-long conversation after because we both saw the movie on Wednesday night, and then we talked about it afterwards, and then I listened to his review today. I'm like, yep, that's bingo. Like, you said exactly what I was thinking. But like, it's just like that movie where, man, like, fuck, it's too bad we can't be with the rest of the world and like just gushing over this movie, because it was good, but I don't know, it's nothing I haven't seen before. Like, I've seen, I don't know, I'm tripping over my words now because I'm trying not to offend anyone or hurt. I don't ever want to hurt anyone's feelings, because like, I like this movie and I think you're gonna love it. It's good.
Okay. It's
not as good as You're Next. I watched You're Next again. Can we talk about Barbara Crampton and how she is still absolutely incredibly gorgeous? She's 61 years old.
I know. Whatever she drinks or eats in a day, it's like a secret formula.
It's amazing. I don't know what happens, but like, she was 52 when she was filming this movie, and she just gets better with age. She's prettier with age. Like, she's such a gorgeous woman, and she's an incredible actress, and like, that's one of the best things about You're Next, and is how it brought back Barbara Crampton after all these years from, like, you know, Reanimator and From Beyond and all those. Like, she's just a treasure. But I feel like this is one of the movies that somehow hasn't gotten enough love. Everything about it is so far above average for me, and yet it passed with a whimper. Like, it seemed like it was like me and you're like the only person I know who really loved it. It seems like online people either loved it or they were really not impressed by it, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who like Ready or Not way more than You're Next, and that's totally cool, because yes, they have similar themes in some ways, but I feel like You're Next is more in line with my taste. It's such a brutal slasher movie, and it's relentless. But it also has some super funny moments.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like the funny moments are people just swearing because they're swearing. Yeah. And that's what I feel like happened in Ready or Not.
It does take some of the better parts of like something like The Strangers, but then flips it and makes these characters not like superhuman or able to go everywhere. It makes them kind of bumbling idiots by the end.
And I feel like you can't call the twist from the beginning, because the film doesn't give you any reason to believe that twist is going to happen. And if you say you called it, congratulations, you're a genius, but you're also a liar, because there's no way you could call that.
I would love to, because I haven't watched the trailer. Like, why would I watch the trailer in God knows how long? But I would love to see what the trailer looks like now, where you could go, okay, I see what they're doing, or if they played their hand. Because I feel like we talk about this all the time, how trailers give away everything now. Yeah. It's really a bummer.
Yeah, because I remember Your Next was basically, it was made like 10 years ago as of right now, because it came out like 2 or 3 years after it was made, because they couldn't get proper distribution. And I remember when I saw it in the theater, I saw it with 3 other people in the theater, and I remember thinking, I was like, yeah, it's good, like kind of like how I felt about Ready or Not. Maybe when I'm not a depressed, miserable piece of shit, I'll love Ready or Not more. But as of right now, I'm just like, yeah, it's good. But like, the thing that makes You're Next so good is that the characters are so fucking funny and they're so interesting. and I think that part of that is due to the fact that they're filmmakers themselves. Like, you have Ty West, who's in the movie, AJ Bowen, Joe Swanberg. The comedic timing in this movie is fucking flawless, and the kills and the execution are so masterfully shot. Like, this is Adam Wingard. Like, I feel like I've always been a fan of this movie, but I haven't given it the credit that it truly deserves. This was the best time I've ever seen it. Like, when McCourtney and I rewatched it, I was like, this is the best it's ever been. Wow. And it's like the especially the kills, like, they're so brutal, and like I just had nonstop admiration for every time a kill happened, how it was set up and how the camera was focused at certain times. It was timed out flawlessly, and I think it was, oh god, so good.
I totally understand what you're saying though, because not to point it back at myself, but that whole thing about how like I'd seen Halloween before, and then just the one time I watched it, it just like it clicked all of a sudden, and now I'm a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, now you're obsessed. Yeah, like I don't know. I love
movies hit you at the right time.
They do, yeah, and I feel like because Your Next is still so grim, and I think that's what I really liked about it too, is that's super fucking dark, and like what I really love how the killers are experts. Like, they are just experts, and then I remember. I'm not going to spoil it, but because
don't give it away.
No, but it's been a long time. But like, my main gripe with it was that Sharni Vinson. I remember being like, okay, so like they explain later in the movie that she's like had some training. Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's pretty convenient. But this time it didn't bother me at all, because actually I picked up on a couple things leading up to it where she was talking about her childhood. And it kind of just all made sense, and I just loved her character even more, and it just worked for me so well this time. So I really loved it. I like both those movies. Ready or Not and Your Next are great. They're similar, but they're different. But they could be played back to back, and you would have some fun. I'm excited to hear what you think of Ready or Not. I think you're gonna love it. It's one of the highlights of the year for me so far. But I'm not saying that it's like Rosemary's Baby or anything like that. Like,
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly. You stupid fucking idiot. Well, speaking of stupid fucking idiots, Buzi, can you hit me with some motherfucking newsies?
Oh shit, it's Donnie D with the fucking news!
Fucking news, dude.
I had like a whole thing I was gonna go into with that.
Do it. Just fucking do it.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm
ready for news?
I got no news this week, so take it away.
Really?
Yeah, take it away.
Can't trump card me? Can't Uno reverse me on this one?
No.
Anthony Michael Hall joins the cast of Halloween Kills as Tommy Doyle.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. That's the first in this lineage of films where Tommy Doyle is represented.
Yeah. So they're picking him from that, from the original, obviously, and undoing everything that they've done before. So they'll probably do the exact same thing that they've done before, but with Tommy Doyle.
Whoa. There will be no Paul Rudd.
Yeah. Bring him back.
I don't know why they don't give a lot of these people, like, parts. Small parts.
You're just mad about Danielle Harris.
I am mad about, like, give her some. She's beautiful. Grindhouse is bringing back the original Evil Dead in 4K with a reimagined score. I don't have a date for this because it does not say when it's happening.
That's fine. I'm surprised you even read that far.
I think that's super interesting. I've never seen a movie where I can understand the 4K re-release, but to have a different score, that's such a cool thing.
Yeah, they do that actually a lot locally, where like, you know, the band Shooting Guns?
Yeah.
They did a new score for like Nosferatu at the Roxy.
So that's cool.
Yeah, I would go see it.
That's like such a niche thing. But this is on a larger scale because it's not just a Saskatoon band doing it, where it's like a full on. Are you gonna go see it? Would you see it?
If I could ever see Evil Dead in any capacity on another screen, yes.
But how do you feel about a different sound, like score?
It doesn't need it, but I'll go see it.
Okay.
I'll always have my Evil Dead. Quickly, off the top of your head, do you have a movie that you could, a movie that you love, if it could be rescored by a band that you like?
Can we make that the question of the week? Because that's so hard to just do off the top of my head.
That is. But
you're going to make me do it, aren't you?
Try it. Let's do, like, off the top of our heads, then we'll think of good ones.
Do you have any? Because this is dead air for me.
I'm just thinking Dillinger Escape Plan and Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Oh, that would be kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, like if I could see Dillinger score Henry.
I got nothing. I'm sorry. I'll have to
come on.
Like by the end, I can probably that should really be the question of the week.
Atreyu and Urban Legend.
Devin Sawa said he wants to make a sequel to Idle Hands.
Yeah, well, he didn't say. He said he'd be down for it. I read that article.
He says he wants it.
He said he would do it for sure.
I find it weird that that's news.
I think it's fucked that you still haven't. Like, the whole purpose of me and Diego choosing Idle Hands was to make you watch Idle Hands because it's a movie It's a movie that you would like. I'm gonna watch it. I'd be very surprised if you don't like Idle Hands. But would you watch? No, well, I guess you can't answer that. I'd watch a sequel to Idle Hands too. Not a chance it would be good.
I think there's a time limit a lot of times on stuff.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way that an Idle Hands 2... It'd be like SLC Punk 2.
Yeah.
And that was terrible.
Or the other Boondock Saints.
Or Mean Girls 2.
Is there a Mean Girls 2?
Yes, there is. I just found out, too. It's on Netflix.
We didn't listen. Yeah. Speaking of sequels, there's some early talks that Netflix is going to be producing another Deep Blue Sea film. So that'd be Deep Blue Sea 3.
Yeah.
They're in super early developments for that, and it's hard to be excited for it, especially after seeing 2, because 2 is such a train wreck. I feel like Deep Blue Sea 1 is such a time capsule. There's no way you can do anything else with it.
Yeah, and I don't know. Deep Blue Sea 2 was obviously we weren't expecting a good movie, but it also it wasn't a fun bad movie either.
Yeah, there was no reason for it to exist. Honestly,
no. I was obviously we're dumb to have expectations for it, but our expectations were for it to be bad, but it just wasn't entertainingly bad.
It wasn't fun bad. Yeah. No. Speaking of sharks, there's going to be an open world shark game coming up called Maneater. The first trailer has come out with alpha footage.
I haven't seen any trailers for. Or you watch it? You don't look pleased.
I'm not.
It looks bad.
It does look bad.
Okay, so but side note. Courtney and I played VR at our friend Kyle's house.
Yep.
Kyle and Kayla. Kayla was on for the Reanimator episode. They just got a VR headset, and Diego had talked about this way back in the day, way back. But there's a cage dive.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And we played it. Well, we didn't play it. We experienced it. It's cool. It's cool as fuck.
I actually have a buddy who has VR, and he's like, come over and play it. And I asked if he had that game because it's part of a 5-pack.
$4.
Yeah, it's sort of like a 5-pack bundle.
I made Kyle buy it, and it was $4. And it's not a game; it's an experience, and it's a 10-minute thing, but it's totally worth it.
Just watching the trailer and freaked out.
Oh man, it was cool. It was cool.
Do you remember? This is for PlayStation 2. There was a Jaws game.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah,
where you play as Bruce.
It looks like they literally just stole everything from it. Everything. I understand it's in alpha.
Are you talking about the Predator thing today?
Yes, I am as well.
Okay.
But they were just showing alpha footage for Maneater, and it looks 100% like the Jaws game. You play as the shark or whatever, but there's very limited.
Are we saying we don't want this?
I don't want it.
Okay.
There's such limited things. If you were thinking about I'm gonna make a game based off of a shark movie, do you want to be the shark? I don't. I want to be scared by the shark. I want to be hunted by a shark. I don't want to be the shark.
It's tough because that's the same as the Jaws board game. One of you plays as the shark, and it's actually really fun to play as the shark. So it's tough to say.
That's true. We're also playing with people who can make good decisions, not really shitty.
Remember Echo?
Echo,
the dolphin game for Sega Genesis, where you play as a dolphin. That was pretty tight.
I didn't have a Sega.
Yeah. You probably had money and had a Super Nintendo.
I wasn't that poor.
No, there's Echo. You play as a dolphin. It was pretty sick. But also in the Donkey Kong Country, you could play as that when you could turn Diddy Kong into a swordfish.
You don't turn into you just ride the swordfish.
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh man,
the divorce fucked me up, man. I'm sorry.
I got some cool stuff coming out for September for Netflix. It's right around the corner. American Horror Story Apocalypse is going to be out, as well as Scream Resurrection.
Wait a minute. American Horror Story what?
Yeah, Apocalypse?
No, that's the American Horror Story. There's no way that slasher one's called Apocalypse. Is it called Apocalypse?
It's not 1984.
Oh, yeah.
I literally have the article right here. It says Apocalypse.
Let me see.
I was more interested in talking about the Scream, but...
September, American Horror Story Apocalypse. What the fuck is that? Maybe that's the last season that we didn't give a fuck about.
Probably.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, so Scream Resurrection, that's what you want to talk about?
Yeah, I do. That's, I really like the first 2 seasons of Scream, the MTV version, but this one's going back to the original Ghostface and everything, and it's going to be a lot closer to what the original movie was. So I'm super interested for that, because even the MTV one was really good with blood and guts. They definitely did it up right. It wasn't, they didn't shy away from that. So I'm really interested to see.
I'll check it out. Is it connected to that one though? Like,
no, it's like a reboot. That's why it's called Resurrection.
All right, so I don't need to have seen because I watched like 8 episodes of the.
No, it's not gonna. I think they're gonna cut a lot of that Degrassi high school drama out of it, for the most part, because that's what MTV. They're in their pocket, right? That was them going out of their element to make that show.
Well, the kid just wanted to be in a band. He didn't want to play football, so the dad should let him chill. Just let him be trill.
And this one's for Mitch Money Pockets here. You can get a 21-disc box set of Twin Peaks.
Yes,
and it comes out on December 10th.
I know.
And there's only 25,000 copies being made. I like they say only.
David Hopkins. How much does this hurt?
21 discs.
I've spent quite a bit of money on Twin Peaks already. And
I feel like you're gonna get it though.
Like, I don't know, maybe I can get a raise on my credit card. Fuck up my life some
You
more.
sound like a girl after you, like a high school girl who's just gotten asked out. I don't know, probably.
I don't like, that's the problem, is like I'm always sitting on the couch and I find something on Amazon and I'm like, ooh, Mondo's Jaws score is on here, and Courtney's like, you need it. She's an enabler.
She's an enabler.
Yeah, she's an enabler.
My girlfriend goes like, quit spending money, because I'll randomly, like, she'll catch me. We'll be sitting watching something, and I'm on Amazon looking at something.
Courtney is all, she's a yes man. She's just like, you need it. You need this. Like, are you even a fan? Like, it's like, fucking okay.
She could totally just be like a bro for hyping you up. Come on, you fucking pussy! You gonna buy that fucking box set, you pussy?
Yeah, why don't you just live a little? Live a little, dude.
To the shock of nobody, John Carpenter's already said he's doing the score for Halloween Kills and Ends. Yeah. I'm glad, because that first soundtrack is fucking incredible.
It's awesome. Best part of the movie. It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
I'm gonna win you over on this.
I still say it's good.
We got our first teaser trailer for Guillermo del Toro's
Guillermo
del Toro's Antlers, and I think you tagged me in this.
Yeah, he didn't direct it. It's a Scott Cooper movie.
I said produced.
Okay. So let's talk about this for a second, though. Scott Cooper. It's so weird, because Courtney told me about this trailer, because I was like, I haven't been on my phone at work, so I missed a lot of stuff in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're really boring to talk to during the day.
I know.
You like never answer.
I know. Now you know. Yeah, I've been bad, but no. Well, I've been good. I've been doing my job. So basically,
I haven't.
But no, Antlers, man. Okay, so Scott Cooper is the director of movies like Crazy Heart, Out of the Furnace. And Black Mass, which everybody hated, which I like. Like, I think it's a good movie, but I can understand why some people wouldn't like it because of. Do you know what movie I'm talking about? Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp plays Whitey Bulger. It's a good movie, but I can understand why people didn't like it. Like, he's pretty Johnny Depp in the role.
Random hot take. I don't like Johnny Depp.
That's not a random hot take. No one likes Johnny Depp.
Are you sure? It feels like people like...
No one likes him anymore. Like, I love Edward Scissorhands era of Johnny Depp. Fuck it. I'll even go with you to Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, he was a good Jack Sparrow.
Okay.
But he's like he was one of the 15 reasons why the last Harry Potter movie sucked ass. He was terrible, and he's one of the many reasons. But no, I thought he did a good job. We're not talking about Black Mass. We're a horror podcast. Here's the thing, is Scott Cooper, and he also directed Hostiles, which came out last year, which was 2017.
Okay,
it came out.
So I haven't seen any of his movies.
Okay, you would really like Out of the Furnace. I don't think you'd like Crazy Heart, but it is a masterpiece. Like I hate masterpieces. No, but it's not your thing. Like, it's about a country singer. It's Jeff Bridges. It's just a phenomenal movie. But Scott Cooper is a guy who can direct the fuck out of a movie. Like, I'm like, oh man, I like what this guy does. I would say that his most disappointing movie is Black Mass, and it's still a decent movie. But I really like Out of the Furnace. Hostiles was incredible. This is a guy who's, whenever I think about directors who have never done horror movies that I'd love to see do horror movies, Scott Cooper, I was thinking about this like 2 weeks ago. I was like, man, that'd be cool if Scott Cooper did a horror movie. And then seeing this, I'm like, what? and it's a straight up horror movie.
It looks great.
It looks so good.
I think this is totally. After you tagged me in it and I watched it, I was like, "This is totally Mitch's shit." Because it starts off like a weird twisted fairy tale.
It looks like what people probably thought the Babadook was going to be.
Yeah,
is what it looks like. It's what people thought the Babadook was going to be, and I love the Babadook.
And that's the thing. I don't know if A24 is putting this out, but it seems so much like an A24. Yeah, like when I was watching, I was like, oh, it's like it reminds me of It Comes at Night, that sort of thing, that vibe.
Yeah, I'm full in, man. I think it looks really good, and I just I watch anything Scott Cooper does, and so I'm a fanboy of his. So the fact that he's making a horror movie and that's produced by Guillermo, I couldn't be happier.
I really I have so much trouble saying Guillermo.
Guillermo.
But
you know how much I love that fucking fat motherfucker. I'd suck his dick. I would. I love him. I love him so much.
Dear Guillermo.
Dear Guillermo.
You're writing this weird erotic fiction.
Yeah.
That's next week's question of the week is write a erotic fiction for Mitch and Guillermo.
Don't. Oh my god.
Someone will do it too.
Oh, Darcy would be all over that shit.
This is coming right from the mouth of John Squires, so you can't call bullshits on me. Tom Atkins has recently said he wants a piece of that Halloween action. Tom Atkins, the star of Halloween 3.
That I would love.
And I guess in the interview he was talking about it because they showed the masks from Halloween 3 that the kids were wearing.
Yeah, they did that in the first one too, though.
And he's like, I really want to be in on this.
Okay, so this is a total side note tangent, and I don't have everything pulled up right now, but I came across a casting call for the new Halloween movies.
Right.
Because they're looking for extras and everything like that. And one of the things is they're looking for identical triplets. So I'm wondering what the fuck that could be for. But it's like because I follow this thing where it's actual. Let's go. Are we gonna go there? Buzi's covering his mouth. He looks like he's gonna say something.
I don't want to say anything bad.
Okay, then don't.
I was just gonna. Okay.
I've already said that probably enough.
I was just gonna make a joke how like, oh, that's just for the director. You know, because a lot of directors
twins, bro. Twins.
Okay, check this out. It's twins, but there's also another one that looks like the other two.
Triplets, bro.
you have to be such an idiot. You don't know what a triplet.
Plus one.
Yeah, triplets plus another clone.
What's better than twins? An extra one.
We got a little bit more news about. Oh, what the fuck was it called? What was that movie called that just got canceled by Blumhouse that we had a nice discussion about last week?
The gun one.
The gun one. What the fuck is it called? Oh,
The Hunt.
The Hunt. Right. They had actually the director was interviewed as well as Jason Blum talking about it, and they were both saying like, we didn't set out to make a movie that people are going to hate for that reason. It's supposed to be a farce and everything.
Yeah.
So the whole time they're basically saying is like, I would love for this movie to come out, and it's probably not going to come out anytime soon, but they're going to look a couple of years down the road. They're not scrapping this. One of those, those things where
people will be able to see it eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, well, remember when they said like they said that the interview was never going to be released.
Yeah,
and then it went up on Netflix like on Christmas Day.
That's what they're going for. Is I think when they do put it out, it's going to be a quiet release.
Yeah,
it's just going to be, hey, look what's on. I don't know, even like Netflix. Like, look what just snuck on Netflix.
David Hopkins brought up a good point that I didn't think about before. That also was brought up by John Squires. Is that one of the reasons why that movie wasn't being released is because of the thought of like gun violence in theaters. Mm-hmm. Like to think about like, especially if it is a movie that's kind of going after the right, that's plenty like there I understand that now, and like that's like the only thing that I can get behind on like understanding why people would be scared to release it.
I think we have a different view than a lot of the rest of the world, because not talking about just our little city or our province, but all across Canada, that's not a common thing anywhere in Canada for us. You don't have this thing where you have to worry about a random attack somewhere.
I know, but what sucks is I still think about it. Even if we're in Canada, I still think about it. But like as a Canadian, my biggest, like one of the biggest problems I have to deal with when it comes to this is like, sometimes I get bacon instead of sausage on my McMuffin in the morning at Tim Hortons. Like that's like, so like it's
confirmed terrorist attack.
Yeah. So like, oh, motherfucker's trying to ruin my day. I'm not making light of it. I'm not comparing that. I'm just saying that like we're Canadians. We don't deal with that as much as they. Like the thing is, I was in a theater when We're the Millers was playing.
Yeah.
I was in the theater next to it. I can't even remember what movie it was, but someone came in with bear mace.
Oh,
so it's like we have shit like that happen, but like I totally sympathize and understand why like people like it sucks that the theater isn't a safe place for people right now.
The weird thing is, though, if you look... Okay, let's put on our way back time machine hats. If you look way back, why did there not be a crazy uproar when something like Passion of the Christ... I don't want to get into that whole thing. No, but like a thing where, like, if you put out Passion of the Christ, someone's going to go in there and crucify someone in the front row.
When I saw Noah, two people got up and yelled... Well, one guy stood up and yelled, bullshit.
Blasphemy.
He yelled bullshit during the what's the fucking the evolution scene. So that's why there's so many people who think that Noah sucks and they haven't seen it and they're idiots because Noah's a masterpiece. But like that and I remember there was like a church group that came to see Noah and they left. So it's like, yeah, no, this ain't your grandma's Noah. It ain't.
He's straight shooting.
Exactly.
It's kind of like when you see the trailer for the new Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, there's more women now. Look how cool we are. Sorry, I just have to take a shot at that because I saw that as a trailer before 47 Meters Down.
Well, it's because we're...
Played to the wrong crowd.
We are repressed. Us men need more representation in film. Like, that's the problem. It's becoming all about... Like, there's a scene in The Avengers where all the women get together. It's just like, yes, but what about us men? What about us men?
I like how you took whatever I was saying and just completely spun it. Just the thing is where they're going like... We're so diverse and ahead of the curve because we changed Bosley is now a woman. That's all I got out of that trailer. Is like, who the fuck cares?
Hopefully some people like it.
You can't tell me that some little girl's growing up, she's like, I wish there was a female Bosley. And then she gets like the female Bosley action figure and she grows up to...
Yeah, no one's buying a female Bosley action figure. But to be fair, it is the director. She's Elizabeth Banks is the director of that movie.
Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth Banks. We got our first trailer for the upcoming Predator game, Hunting Grounds.
Looks dope.
It looks cool.
It looks dope.
I think that it's a broken mechanic for those kind of games. I'm not talking about just that game. There's tons of games that have done the same thing, and I find that it's probably going to fail based on that. Doesn't mean I'm not going to pay top dollar for this game and play it.
I'm going to fucking buy it, but I know how annoying is it going to be when you have to shoot something that isn't there? Well, when they're invisible.
I was trying to compare it to like, you know how like everyone was trying to figure out how Friday the 13th the game would work. They managed to make it work eventually, but there's a lot of things where you don't have a super overpowered character and that there are ways to get around Jason. Yeah. We're talking about Predator. Future technology can become invisible, has shield. Like there's too many positives to be a Predator that no one's gonna be a fucking Marine.
Yeah, the only the most unrealistic thing about the Predator, a movie about an alien that can go invisible surrounded by macho men. The most unrealistic thing is that Arnold even stood a chance.
Exactly.
They are the ultimate killing machines. You are fucked.
Predator lost because of his hubris. Yes. That's the only reason he lost. Going on from that, what a weird conversation we just had. We have an Aliens Meets the Abyss, the new film Underwater featuring Kristen Stewart.
Dumped in January.
Why? I don't understand. It looks so good.
Okay, so I'm there day one. I'll be there day one. You take me in it. You knew exactly I was going to be into this. So I'm into it. But this is exactly fucking Alien Underwater. Like they steal scenes from it. Like it's to the point where they're like, clearly they're like, oh, we're paying homage. But it's like, but how much are you paying homage when you're taking famous scenes from Alien and Aliens and Alien 3? There's a scene in Alien 3 that's the hook of the trailer. That's just like with Sigourney and the alien like breathing on her face. But I'm there. I will be there. But I'm a little bit worried how it's a January movie. But Split was also a January movie.
This is our shit, though. And I understand where you're coming from, where you're like, they're stealing from other things, where it's like...
Well, they're paying homage.
Spoon feed me that shit. Give me things I like, but slightly different.
Yeah, that's like Jordan Peele put a shark movie in my mouth.
That's there you go.
You're at, yeah.
And even... This is coming from a person who's seen several Kristen Stewart movies.
She's really good, man. I really like Kristen Stewart.
That fucking what was that movie she did that was supposed to be huge? The has Charlize Theron in it, where she's Snow White? and the Huntsman.
Oh God, no.
I went into that. I saw it.
That's your fault. I went to it too, but don't say that that's her. She's done so many good movies.
I didn't choose to go see that, but the fact
she's done good movies since then. Camp X-Ray is a really good Kristen Stewart movie. Kristen Stewart to me is like kind of like Robert Pattinson, but she's garbage because she cheated on him.
How dare she?
She cheated on him with the director of Snow White.
Oh, weird.
That old motherfucker. I
did not know any of this.
And you don't know. No, we're canceling Kristen Stewart because we're Team Robert Pattinson.
But, so we can't go see the movie? No, I'll just, like, hold my thumb up anywhere she's on the screen so it just looks like a thumb's talking.
Yeah.
This is kind of cool news, and it's something we've talked about before in a weird spin way.
Imagine seeing someone do that in a movie. Just like
I don't want to see you.
You're canceled, Kevin Spacey.
Watching Seven. Watching
you're
Seven.
Not going to ruin Baby Driver for me.
This is something we talked about before in a roundabout way, talking about how Netflix puts out these shows and will never get physical copies because they
it's a piss off.
It is a piss off, but Mike Flanagan's Haunting of Hill House is getting a Blu-ray release, and he's going to have an extended director's cut of everything. So what I'm saying is that's a huge win because Netflix hoards.
They do that with Stranger Things too as well.
They do it with a couple things, but I want to see it with more.
Yeah.
Like they hoard things. Netflix hoards things.
I want the Ritual on Blu-ray.
Yeah, why don't we have that? I can go and buy the book.
Ask me what I'm going to do with this Blu-ray of Haunting of Hill House.
Oh God, do I even want to know?
I'm a fuck with it hard. Like I'm gonna buy that thing.
But does it have 21 discs?
Yeah, no. I wish it would. Like I fucking love that show, and I hope that you someday get to it. But I don't know if you're intellectually ready for it yet.
I'm not. I still got my training wheels on.
Yeah.
That's all I have for news.
Okay, let's go on to our main feature, which is going to be a movie that Buzi and I have been talking about for the last 5 months. I think that's about as long as we've known about it.
But as soon as we heard about it.
As soon as we're back from this tune, we're going to talk about 47 Meters Down, Uncaged, directed by Johannes Roberts.
I forgot to show you guys what I found this morning.
That's a shark tooth.
I am going to take you to a place that no tourist would ever find in a million years. Chance of a lifetime.
Mayan.
They made human sacrifices here. Ah! There's something there!
How much air do you have left?
We're going to die down here.
And welcome to our main feature presentation, in which we're going to be discussing 47 Meters Down, Uncaged, which is the sequel to 47 Meters Down, which is a movie that Buzi and I have been singing its praises for years. We were big fans of that movie, so obviously you've heard us, if you've ever listened to this podcast, you've heard us basically gush about how excited we are to see another movie from another shark movie under the same name from Johannes Roberts, Johannes Roberts is also the director of movies like I said, 47 Meters Down. He did The Strangers Prey at Night recently. Storage 24 and The Other Side of the Door. Yeah, The Other Side of the Door. And so this one was co-written by Ernest Riera, who co-wrote the movie with Johannes Roberts, and they also wrote 47 Meters Down together, and they also wrote The Other Side of the Door together. So 47 Meters Down, 2 Uncaged. I feel so weird. Can you move
your drink? I feel like you're going to hit it.
Okay,
like the whole time, just watching your elbows.
All right. 47 Meters Down is 14 girls diving in a ruined underwater city quickly learn they've entered the territory of the deadliest shark species in the claustrophobic labyrinth of submerged caves. So sounds right up our alley. Things that we'd be excited about.
Well, they hit it right on the head with the buzzwords where they're going, it's The Descent, but underwater and with sharks. Exactly. I think that's all you needed to
that's what me and you want.
Yeah, that was like the master code. If you were to put that in, that like it would unlock everything for us.
Yeah,
we're unlockable characters.
Yeah. So this movie starring Sophie Nélisse, Corinne Fox, who is Jamie Foxx's daughter.
Yep.
Brianne Chu and Sistine Rose Stallone, Sylvester Stallone's daughter. It also stars John Corbett, or Corbet, I don't know how you want to pronounce it. He's the dude from My Big Fat Greek Wedding and The Messengers. He plays the dad in this movie.
Oh, I forgot about The Messengers.
Yeah.
Oof.
We all try to forget about The Messengers. And then there's a whole bunch of disposables. This is a fucking shark movie.
Yeah.
So we've officially almost left no room for us to explore shark stuff after this, which is probably a good thing because
we've cornered ourselves.
We do it a lot. We know that, like, everyone who listens to us knows that me and Buzi like shark movies. Jaws is probably my favorite movie of all time. Buzi,
you've been really good about saying that lately.
Jaws is my favorite movie of all time. I always get excited about other ones.
I know, but like lately you've been like real, like every single time it's like Jaws.
Jaws is as good as it gets, and till this day we still have never gotten a movie that comes close to Jaws, but we've gotten some pretty damn good shark movies. I know that a lot of people really like The Shallows. Buzi and I really like 47 Meters Down. We both love Deep Blue Sea. The thing is, this is a subgenre that offers so much bullshit, but lots of times we are okay with the bullshit. So I guess that leaves. We'll do our spoiler-free review, talk about the movie without spoilers, because I think a lot of people still didn't go out and see this movie.
It's still too fresh, too.
Yeah, but I think that we are in the minority of people who were excited to go out and see this movie.
True.
For example, like I had mentioned countless times on this episode, I've had a tough couple weeks. It's been a real tough couple of weeks. I went and saw 47 Meters Down Uncaged by myself in the theater. I was texting you that day.
I forgot, because you were gonna go with Courtney, and then you did.
I was gonna go, but the thing is, I had a really tough week at work, but then I had the afternoon off on the Friday that it came out, so I was like, Courtney's like, hey, you go, because you're not gonna, like, because she was going camping that weekend. I'm like, I can't wait till Tuesday to go see 47 Meters Down. Like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So I went by myself. It's been the first movie that I've gone to by myself in a very long time. But I went and got myself a big popcorn, a big drink. That's exactly what I needed, and I had a ton of fun. It's not a spoiler, but I had a ton of fun. I guess it's kind of a spoiler. I had a ton of fun with this movie. So yeah, Buzi.
Yes.
47 Meters Down, Uncaged.
Let's
talk spoiler free.
Spoiler free. Okay. I went into this super excited. When I finished the movie, I was having a ton of fun with it. And at the end, I had that twinkle, especially because some of the people I went with did not like it that much. And it was kind of a twinkle of like, oh, you also didn't like it. But then the more I thought about it, I thought this was great.
Okay, so here's the thing. This movie is complete fucking dog shit.
No way. I loved this.
But I loved it. I had so much fun. I don't know if you saw because I know you said you're like, don't tell me anything because I know you're gonna see
I didn't
it.
look.
And yeah, no, I gave it a good I liked this movie, but it fucking sucks.
What?
But I really liked it. And that's fine. This is another dumb shark movie that we can throw into the equation. It is like, because man, so this movie is just horrible acting, the laziest writing, and the dumbest concepts to hit mainstream cinema in years. But fuck me, is it so entertaining to watch. And I needed it so bad. I was so fucking drained when I saw this movie. I saw it in a theater with two other couples, and I felt like a maniac because I was like, I was clapping my feet on the ground in excitement because I was like, oh my god, this is so fucking crazy. Because it's crazy. It's so dumb. But it is so fun to watch. I really enjoyed it. But it is a bad movie.
Yeah.
It's a bad fucking movie.
I feel like I'm the only one who had like horse blinders on because everyone else was complaining about the acting.
The acting was so bad.
I didn't care because I was just like, eat somebody. That's all I cared about.
I think there's certain times, Buzi, where you make up your mind before you see a movie, and I think it's pretty clear that this is going to be one of those. Me to an extent as well. But like Stallone's daughter was so bad.
I don't even know which one she was.
Oh, she looks just like him, but she has a great ass. She's the one that you see her butt a lot. So there's a lot of Stallone's daughter's butt.
Hey,
so,
what are you looking at my ass for?
Yeah, so there's you're looking at my butt. But no, I don't know. I can't even begin to express just how terrible the writing is in this movie, and the acting is just, and the editing. Like, there is the most impressive part on a filmmaking scale is that it was all done underwater, and that's impressive in its own right. But this is one of those, like, it kind of, the only real negative I can say about it is it made me question if I was too positive on 47 Meters Down, because I was pretty forgiving of them talking underwater. Yeah. Because I was like, oh, whatever, there's just two of them. I wasn't thinking about that the first time I saw it. I actually didn't even pick up on it until after people were like, how are they talking to each other? I was like, wait a minute, I didn't think about that because I'm not a diver. I don't understand how that stuff works. Oh, no. So I don't know that there could be things, there could be like masks that you wear where you're able to communicate with someone. I'm like, it's 2019. You can fucking watch anything on Pornhub. I'm sure there's a way people can talk to each other underwater. But then I've listened to countless episodes of Johannes Roberts on podcasts, and he even talks about, he's like, no, that's not a thing that exists.
It was based on a prototype from like the 70s.
Yeah, they had like one thing, and you know what? It didn't bother me as much in 47 Meters Down because I felt like that was a genuinely tense movie with.
But it's not something. Sorry, like the idea of that. I feel like that's something so small to pick apart because it is a major focal point for the movie.
Do faces have ears? Because their ears are completely submerged, all of them.
I feel like it was just a whole head thing.
But in this one, it's so much more noticeable because in the first one, there was two girls that were in a cage together, stuck at the bottom of the ocean. In this one, there is like, it's like an underwater high school. It's like there are so many characters.
I just looked at it like through. They had like a Bluetooth and they were all on the same signal or something. But Bluetooth
transported in their head because their ears are completely submerged.
Oh, you're getting way too deep into this.
You can see their ears though, and that I'm like, okay, yeah, but you know, it's a silly shark movie. It's silly, and I feel like for the most part they treated it as it is. It is a silly shark movie, especially the climax, which is probably my favorite part of the movie.
Okay, I felt like for a certain amount of this movie, they were playing it. You can get into the semantics of what they were doing with it, but they were playing it somewhat straight. And then as soon as the ending happened, that's where I was looking around. I was like, holy shit, what are we watching?
Oh, that's where, because like I texted Buzi afterwards because you said, don't tell me anything. And I was like, I need to tell you one thing. And what was that thing that I sent you?
Sharks eat people.
No, I said hungry boys.
Oh, hungry boys. I thought it was sharks eat
hungry
people.
Boys. And then you're like, I don't know what that means. And I said, sharks eat people.
There, see, I knew I got the...
But like... the whole movie, I just kept thinking, ooh, hungry boys. Like, there are so many sharks in this movie, and they fucking annihilate people. And
that's only 3?
It feels like more, especially there's one scene that we'll talk about in spoilers, but, like, it feels like there's more.
There's 3... Okay, never mind.
Yeah, either way, I think that this movie is a total blast. I think...
only if you like shark movies.
Definitely. There is nothing for you here. If you don't like shark movies, and if you can't if you can suspend disbelief and just have some fun, and actually, you know what, I say like this is a dog shit movie and everything. There are some scenes that are well crafted, and that's what I've come to realize from what you can expect from Johannes Roberts. Yeah. He's a guy who doesn't give a fuck about characters. Like there's nothing to latch onto in The Strangers Pray at Night. Even in 47...
I like that movie.
I know, but you can like it, but the thing is the best... But
it was set pieces.
You can't deny that the best part of that movie is like the pool scene. Yep. And there's certain scene... He can construct few scenes very well and make it really entertaining. But if you care about characters and you care about plot development and you care about any of that stuff, which, to be fair, you really shouldn't in a sequel to 47 Meters Down, but, like, you're not going to find that in his movies. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, he's a guy who, he knows that. If you listen to him on, once again, I'm mentioning the Boo Crew. He was on the Boo Crew, and he talks about it. He's like, this stuff, he did not give a fuck about making 47 Meters Down, but then one scene excited him. Yeah. And it's the same thing with Strangers. He didn't like the original Strangers movie, but then he thought about it. He's like, oh, I could do this. I could bring Christine into this. I could do, and that's what he's good at. And you can feel which scenes he's passionate about. But you can tell that he's not a guy who studies cinema and wants to make like a well-crafted tense movie. He wants to make cool scenes.
He wants to make music videos.
Yes.
And we talked about this over I text, it was, I believe, because we'd both listened to that same podcast.
Yeah.
And I get where he's coming from, because we had this conversation, is when he was talking about what his favorite movies were. You know,
Yeah,
he's talking
totally.
about like Pet Sematary. He loves like The Grudge. He likes The Ring. He likes
those memorable scenes.
Yeah, but he likes those.
But to be fair, the Ring is what he said. The Ring, and The Ring is a great movie.
and Pet Sematary. He
Yeah,
said he
and
really
Pet
liked.
Sematary
But
is
like
great.
he loves the supernatural movies.
Yeah.
And we discussed this. Is he makes movies for us, but he doesn't like those movies.
Yeah.
So that's like
The Strangers and shark movies.
yeah. So he's doing movies that if we were directors we would want to do.
Yeah.
Whereas he doesn't want to do those movies. So I guess if I'm trying to like flip it, it would be like if all I wanted to make was slashers and I had to make a rom-com. There'd
Yeah.
probably be a couple serviceable things in there, but overall I would miss the point.
Totally. And I think that is that's why I want to go back, because I've seen 47 Meters Down 4 times.
Also,
I really love
I forgot to mention in the what we've been seeing. I watched 2 days before we went to see the Uncaged. We rewatched 47 Meters Down,
And it still holds up for you and everything?
I still love it.
Yeah, I really want to watch it, because I loved it. I really love it. And like, I know that it's not flawless, but it's as far as shark movies go, which I'm a glutton for shark movies. Like I think it's one of the better ones, and I really enjoyed it. And this one, like, dude, they're like, do not get me wrong, I'm going to buy this movie and I'm gonna watch it.
100%.
I cannot wait to show it to Courtney, because I'm like, Courtney, like, this movie was so nuts. And it's nuts, and like, especially the ending. Like, man, I can't put into words how crazy I looked in the theater, because I was literally like, I couldn't control myself. I was sitting, imagine me by myself just being like, oh my, like I was throwing my hands in the air being like, you fucking shoot that shark. Like there was so many stupid things that I loved. And that's like, so I know that makes it, my opinion, not hold a lot of weight for some people, because I can really enjoy something that I say is bad. But I think that that's actually an important part of film criticism, is being able to enjoy things that aren't like, it's a movie. Sometimes it's a movie and that's fine, and it's fun. And if you have fun watching it, hell yeah.
I went to the theater with 4 people, so 3 including myself, so there's 4 of us. I think I was the only one who really liked the movie.
I can't imagine other people loving this movie like we do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I do have problems with this movie, but it's not from like where you're like gonna say it was this and this. The main problem I had is the special effects, because Johannes Roberts even said it's the same guys who did the first one, and if I didn't know that watching this movie, I'd be like, who the fuck did they get to do this? Because
okay, are we talking about the screaming fish?
I don't want to talk about this.
Okay, so that were the only good thing I got out of. Okay, so, and this is within the first 20 minutes, so I'm going to spoil this part, because this will also give you an idea of what kind of movie we're talking about.
Fish.
There is a straight up fish that screams at the screen, and it vibrates the camera, and it just goes, and it's a jump
no
scare.
reason for it. They
It's
literally
like Jaws for the Revenge, where he's roaring like a lion.
Yeah, I don't understand.
And I loved it. The reason I loved it is because I was like, I cannot wait to hear Buzi try and defend this.
I can't. That was the one part of the, and it's set up so modestly, where they're full of wonder, because they just gotten down into this thing, and they're like, wow, how did fish survive down here? And it's probably never seen a human before. And then they they go near it, and it just goes like, bleh! And yeah, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
I know, yeah. I remember I was like, oh, like when that happened, I said out loud to myself, by myself in the theater, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it was so jarring, and it really does throw off this movie. And I think a lot of people would probably turn it off at that point.
Oh, totally.
But I think there's a lot of good stuff that comes after.
There is a lot of good, and the thing is, you're pointing out like some special effects. I don't think I noticed those. Besides the screaming fish, like, I thought the sharks looked fucking awesome.
Really? I felt like in the first, maybe it's because of the lighting, because they're in a lot darker areas in this film versus...
That's a huge problem with this movie, is the lighting.
It was,
they're in a completely dark cave.
But I do like that it gives you that claustrophobic feeling where you're just seeing like speckles of things.
Yeah, but then sometimes it's like a neon fucking dream. Like, that's what annoyed me, is that sometimes you could see everything. And then other times, and I get that there's darker parts of the ocean.
Well,
but
they had set up lights everywhere in the water, so that was supposed to be.
But to me, it was just like, it was annoying where it was like, okay, so we can only see it when it's convenient for the movie.
Yeah.
Because like there's a lot of this movie where it's actually really messy filmmaking. Like there's one scene where there's an underwater current that's hitting, and you're like, I'm supposed to feel something here, but I have no idea who this is affecting because there's 3 people screaming and the camera is just blasting everywhere.
That was the thing, is
like, what the fuck?
I didn't have like, because in the first one you just have 2 people you really care about, and you can differentiate them. This one there was 4 people and you don't know who the fuck is who. You're just seeing things happen. So no, I was not latched on to any of these characters. No. And everyone's complaining about the acting. I was like, I don't know, because they're just 4 people. I didn't give
And that's the thing. Okay, so yes, I'm complaining about the acting. So I think the acting is fucking atrocious in this movie. It's so bad. But like a lot of people are saying online, so I'm not the first to say this. I know that's a part of having a podcast that sucks, is a lot of times you agree with someone or you think of something, but then it sounds like you're stealing it from them. Yeah. But this is an underwater slasher.
Oh, yeah.
So cool. That's fucking tight to me. Johannes Roberts saying that he has compared these sharks to Michael Myers sharks.
And I
totally get it. And I felt it too. I think there's a lot of really cool scenes where there's just people swimming and then there's like just a faint light and you see there's a shark just creeping up behind them. But also, that's fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid, but I love it because it's a dumb shark movie. But it's so fucking dumb because one minute these sharks are like swimming at people full speed, the next they're just like, he doesn't know I'm here. He has no idea that I'm here.
I think there was a lot of writing problems, but I get what they were going for, and there's some smart stuff because it's like in these Aztec ruins, so they have all these like sculptures. What would that be?
I love that, the sculpture. But like there's a lot of like fodder for thinking that there's going to be something.
Yeah, there's all the misdirects came with these pillars and stuff that are in the background, and I totally get when he's talking about it being like Halloween, where there are sometimes you just see this faint figure in the background, and you're like, ooh, is that just a sculpture? Is that a shark? Because sometimes it interchanges being one. Yeah. And I will say, I don't know how far we're going to get into talking about this, but like I have my favorite scene picked out by a country mile. I actually have 2.
Okay, let's get into spoilers because I feel like we're not going to have a lot in spoilers.
No,
but I think that we've actually done pretty good at talking about spoiler free. I think so. Let's get on to spoilers, but before that, let's just say I can't in good conscience as a podcaster of people listening to me who rely on me or
rely on you.
Well, yeah, like me. No, but like people who trust my opinion. I can't tell you to go see this movie. I can say that if you've related to Buzi and I when we talk about Bait and Shark Night and when we talk about movies like this, I think that if you're that type of person, there's a certain type of person who likes these kind of movies, you will have fun with it.
Well, we talked about it's shark movies, Sasquatch movies, werewolf movies.
Yeah, or even crocodile movies. Like the thing is, that Crawl was so good.
Crawl was so straightforward. Yes, though.
Crawl was like expertly executed. This is just like it's a trash movie that you can have some fun with if you're a fan of the genre. Don't get me wrong, I'm buying this movie day one and I'm going to watch it again.
The more I think about it, the more this movie feels like it was transported out of 2005.
This feels like a straight to Netflix, straight to DVD movie.
Especially with the ending, but also there's a shot of
I love the ending.
The
ending is my favorite part. I just need to get that. The ending, the last 20 minutes is my favorite part of this whole movie.
Oh, and that's the part where it fell off for me.
Oh, but God, there's so fucking bad.
There's a long setup scene for all our divers getting to this place they need to go, and it's like a music montage, and they're like slapping each other's asses.
You know what? That happens.
And it was a music video, but like I was digging it the whole time. I was like, set that shit up. Yeah. You got this. Yeah. I like all these girls. They're having fun.
I can't wait to watch all of you die.
Yeah.
That is what it's like that in The Office when Erin is talking about watching Gabe's horror movies. She's like, I like the parts where they're really happy at the beginning.
Yeah, that's totally what it is.
It's like in Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot where they're playing Sweet Home Alabama and they're going off tire swings and stuff like that. And then it's like, oh, you are all going to die.
So I don't know, like, how do we spoil this?
All right, so everyone, thank you for listening. If you want to hang out for spoilers, because I don't think that this is actually going to affect your viewing, but if you for some reason if you want to see it and you don't want us to spoil everything for you, this this is your time to check out. But you can hang out with us if you don't give a shit, because we're going to talk about spoilers. But next week we will be back with Diego. We have a very special episode. We're going to be talking about Night of the Creeps with our co-host Diego. So we'll see you guys next week. But now we're going to talk about spoilers. Spoiler territory. Holy fuck.
Where do you want to go? Like, okay, I don't even want
I just want to scream flare gun. Like, I want to scream flare. Like, the idea of the woman. Like, okay. Them finally escaping the cave and then seeing that they're the people who they were supposed to go on that like great white shark.
I like that it was a callback. I like that.
Well, yeah, it's because it's funny because now it's gonna be like, oh, the girls who bullied her are gonna be on that boat, and they're gonna see her kick some shark's ass.
I thought there was gonna be a thing where like all the mean girls get eaten.
I was hoping that was where it was gonna go, because that's why I told you to stop listening to the Boo Crew episode, because he keeps on saying, he compares the ending to Mean Girls. I was like, wait a minute, dude, so do all these bitches get eaten by sharks? That's what I was expecting. So, because like for me, like that wasn't really a Mean Girls ending. It was just like the mean girl got to watch her get annihilated by those sharks, but also win.
Yeah,
like that. It's one of the most ridiculous things I've seen in theaters in a very long time.
He did a callback to 47 Meters Down, the first one, where she has the hallucination.
Yeah,
it was like a callback to that, like almost like identical, because in the callback from the first movie, her hallucination, they escape and then she's about to get on the boat and the shark comes out of breaches and grabs her.
So that's like people's main complaint about that movie is the ending.
Yeah,
they hate the ending. I can't remember which ending I saw because we watched the pirated version, and then we went like that shows. Okay, so this is how much I love this movie, is that the only reason I watched the pirated version is because I felt there was no other way I was ever going to get to see this movie.
No, it wasn't like we're stealing this. It was like we can't wait.
I remember you and I were recording an episode at our old spot where we used to record this podcast, and you're like, dude, there is a way we can watch this online. So we both watched it that night. We were both like, holy fuck. And then it was like 4 or 5 months later, they were releasing it to theaters, and I watched it twice at home, and I still went out to the theater to see it again. That's how much I liked it.
Yeah, like, I own it, so
yeah, and I own it too. So that's now like I'm openly admitting that like the only reason I watched is because that was like, there's no way we're gonna get to see this movie, and then we went to it in theaters. But like a lot of people hated the ending. I don't like. I remember there was one ending I liked and one ending I didn't. And I think that the theatrical ending was the one that most people saw, and it wasn't as good. But this ending is just completely ludicrous. It's just,
I don't know what happened. I honestly don't.
Man, you think that the rest of this movie was more straight-faced than that?
Yeah. Other than, well, there's a couple other things. I feel like there was a couple times where it was building up to something like that, but it literally jumped the shark at the very end and just went nuts. It went so far out from what it was before, because there was some genuinely good set scenes. There's one involving rappelling, like.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I want to talk about that one because that is a good scene.
Yes, it is.
That was a good scene where they finally escape the cave they magically find the dad. Yep. My Big Fat Greek Wedding is down there, and they get out into like there's like an area where they can grapple out of the water, because it's where these archaeologists are getting in and out.
That's
how
they get in and out.
So, and then you see like the thing is, this is all slasher shit.
Yep.
So if you're accustomed to slasher movies and you like slasher movies, there's no reason you should be opposed to this. Like, it's ridiculous. So are slasher movies. So I had fun with that.
I loved it. I thought that was a great set scene.
And I liked how Sylvester Stallone's daughter's trying to climb out. She's the greedy bitch who tries to get on top of everyone else, and then she ends up getting ripped in half.
That's the thing is, and it was set up so smartly, because smartly. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
So the sharks are all blind in this because they've been spending so much time underwater, and they're also white because they haven't been exposed to light. They're this like ancient shark. So they hunt by sound and.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but think about if this was like a stupid Annabelle possession movie and you were talking about it the same way as a shark movie. Imagine how hard you would be shitting on it if you're like, oh, but these ones are blind.
No, but they set up for that cool scene, because the whole point of that scene is they're all going to get out, but they have to go one at a time. And the one girl starts going up, and this other girl goes like, no, I want to get out, because she's terrified as fuck. So she starts going on there, and then the rappel machine is slowly falling off the cliff. So they're splashing in the water, and then you notice from below
there's like 3 sharks.
These sharks. I think it was 2 at that point. 2 sharks are coming up.
Big boys too.
Yeah, that's smart filmmaking right there. You've said, I know you're gonna.
No,
like,
it's not.
I think it is. You're setting up that. How do these things find you? Why do they find you? They found you. They set up. I think that's because everyone in the theater knew what was going on.
Yeah,
it wasn't a thing where they made up some magic rule all of a sudden that the sharks can find you if you get out of water a little bit. They set up for that, and that's what I mean. Where they didn't invent something random just for that to happen.
No,
it wasn't like, oh, you've exposed the secret curse of the mummy's tomb.
Yeah,
they set up. See, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is they set up a reason for why that scene happened, and I think it was cool because everyone knew what was happening. It was a typical slasher scene. Like, it was a thing where, I don't know, maybe you
trying to fit through a fucking tight space.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what it was.
We can't make any noise, or the killer's gonna find us. Let's all get out through here. I want to go first because I'm the annoying bitch. Yeah. And then you get got. That's what I mean. Where like it set that up so well, where you go, okay, yeah.
Can we talk about how My Big Fat Greek Wedding does the Samuel L. Jackson Deep Blue Sea monologue?
I loved it.
He does a monologue. It's like a scene straight out. I feel like they had to have been paying homage to Deep Blue Sea, but unfortunately I listened to Johannes Roberts talk on the Boo Crew, and he said no one's ever made a found footage shark movie. That's what I want to make. And I was like, Open Water. It was like, are you kidding me?
Open Water 1 through 5.
Yeah, that was a huge movie. Like, what are you talking about? No one's done that. But like, so that's why I'm like, I hope that he was paying homage to Deep Blue Sea, but I don't think he was. Either way, it was still entertaining and it was still fun to watch.
It was great because you didn't expect it.
And I didn't give a fuck. Like, I really didn't give a fuck about any of these people dying. I just want to see them die. And once they start going, they go quick.
Yep.
And that's what I like about it. It's a fast-moving movie in that aspect.
Can I talk about my favorite scene?
Yes, I want to hear your favorite scene.
My favorite scene, because I think in this whole movie, it was the most well-crafted of the entire film.
The screaming fish, yes.
No, screaming fish. Okay, so you have to follow me on this one. The guy's welding underwater.
Oh, of course, that's your favorite
She's
scene.
Got the Look is playing, which
I thought
She's
it was
Got the
Savage
Look
Garden for a while. I was hoping it was Savage Garden.
She's Got the Look, such a good song. Anyway, what ends up happening is this guy goes like, hello, because his music gets destroyed, his music box underwater, which I think is actually a thing. I think you can actually play music underwater.
Well, he's an underwater welder. They can talk to each other, so it's fine.
No, underwater welding is a thing too.
Well, 100%. It's the most dangerous job on earth.
Okay, so he's doing that, and the music machine gets broken. He's like, hello, and it's a slasher thing. It's like where you're so he goes over, and it's like a POV from the shark at some points, and then you're seeing him or whatever. Anyway, he ends up getting killed, and the best part of this whole scene is you start hearing this beeping sound, this light's going off, and they're like, what's that sound? Well, if a diver is down for too long, it's like the whole firefighter thing. Yeah. If a firefighter falls, this beep goes off. Because I remember that there was a big thing in, like, not to go on a completely different tangent, but like 9/11. That was like something people said is like when the firefighters succumbed to asphyxiation, you would hear that beeping of a firefighter down. So that's a really smart scene, because then she's going, what's that sound? Where is this person? And just following that beeping, and then having that shark in that area. That's all slasher shit 101 done. I think that's done really, really well.
I will agree with you that as a well-crafted scene. I think that was the scene that Johannes Roberts was like, "Ooh, this is something that I can get excited about."
That's his set pieces.
Yeah, and it's because we've now heard him talk. If you haven't heard him talk, it's impossible not to like the guy.
Oh, like I love him.
He's so likable. But like and what I like about him most is that he is unapologetic of who he is, and he's like, no, the stuff that excites me is when he can incorporate a song that he likes, and that's like what's the song from The Strangers?
I Think We're Alone Now.
I Think We're Alone Now. Like, and that's what, like, people, it's one of like, for me, I didn't like that movie, but one of the more memorable slasher scenes in a very long time.
Yeah.
And so he killed it on that scene. And he did the same thing in this one. It follows a very similar formula, but it's also, I get so excited at the ridiculousness of it being blind sharks following them. So it's like, I can't go down with you on, I can't go down the path with you on agreeing that it's smart. But I can say that I can understand why it's like, oh, it's a well-crafted. That's where he put all his eggs in that basket.
But like, what I'm getting at with it being smart is it's not just a throwaway scene where somebody goes, "Hey, where's my music?" and they die.
Yeah.
Adding that
real.
diver down thing makes that scene so much more interesting. There, like, tons of movies have done the same thing where you go to find out what's this thing and it leads to something attacking you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's such a good job of that.
That's what I think what we can both agree on is that the best thing about this movie is that we got another slasher movie in the theater, but this time it's sharks.
Disguised as a shark movie.
This time it's sharks. So if you're okay with that and you want to have some fun with it, you could have fun with it.
Yeah.
Last thing that I loved when they got out of the water and then you see that the boat is chumming the waters. And I'm like, oh shit, yes.
And that felt like a Shark Night thing. It felt like it should have been in Shark Night, not this movie.
I don't know. Yeah, even that was so ridiculous for this movie. And this is a ridiculous movie.
Yes.
But even that was pretty ridiculous.
It was more ridiculous than the Screaming Fish.
Is that... No, it wasn't.
Totally.
There's nothing more ridiculous than Screaming Fish because the Screaming Fish physically does not exist. That you physically... At least...
Someone Google this.
Yeah, there might be a screaming fish, but I don't know about one that is attracted to cameras that just goes God, oh man, I had a heyday with that one because I was like, this is gonna be bad, and I was like, oh fuck. I was like, I'm having such a shit day, I can't handle this. And then it turned and I can't give it enough praise for me just being able to turn my brain off for a while and just to have fun. I had a lot of fun with the movie. As ridiculous as it is, as stupid as it is, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I thoroughly enjoyed watching her shoot sharks with a flare gun underwater and like trying to save her friend.
Oh.
And she kept getting picked up and then she would fall back down.
They did it over and over and over.
Over and over. And it's like, this will not end. It's like, guys... I want whatever cocaine you have because then I could be truly happy. Because like this is fucking insane.
I feel like sorry, going back to what you're saying about Johannes Roberts being such a likable person, I feel like I would love to just hang out with him because even in the interview he was talking about they were filming stuff for Star Wars and he was also down the road from the Pet Cemetery house.
That pissed me off.
He did not give two fucks about this X-Wing.
You don't like Star Wars?
Huh?
You don't like Star Wars?
No, I'm just saying that's like a horror movie purist. When you go like, I don't give a shit about Star Wars, but Pet Cemetery House, really interesting. That's what makes me, like, it's endearing that he said something like that.
Yeah.
Because, that could be...
I like that he's so honest about stuff like that. I like that he's not scared to be who he is and do what he does. So I will always see... Honestly, and I think I'm the 1% that didn't hate Other Side of the Door. I actually think there's a couple really cool parts of Other Side of the Door.
But, like, okay.
Granted, they're all, like, ripped off from The Ring, which I now know is one of his favorite movies.
Yeah. But like let's interchange let's say the X-Wing for something. This goes along more with something I would be interested in. Like, okay, instead of it being an X-Wing, it's some shit from Star Trek. Because I don't give a shit about Star Trek. Okay. I love Star Wars. So I was kind of like, oh, that's a bummer he doesn't. But if it was they're filming some shit for Star Trek, but also the Pet Cemetery House, I would be that same guy going like, holy shit, the Pet Cemetery House. I don't give a shit about that shit. Or I don't give a shit about Star Wars.
It would be like you, like, being near Tony Stark's something. I don't know. Like Avengers.
Like, if I had to choose between meeting Johannes Roberts and meeting Robert Downey Jr., 100% me and Johannes Roberts would be hanging out all day. I could give two shits
so
about...
insane to me.
I hate Robert Downey Jr.
Oh my god, I love him. But, okay, yeah, no, let's I agree that I just appreciate that he isn't pretending to be someone that he's not. And that's what I like about it. Overall, 47 Meters Down Uncaged, completely ridiculous movie, completely ludicrous, super fun. And I would recommend it to people who have generally agreed with Buzi and I in the past about shark movies.
If you like urban legend, I know what you did last summer, all that stuff, all that 90s throwback stuff, this movie feels like a 90s throwback.
But even if I say that if you're a fan of, like for someone like Lana, I'd say don't go to this in the theater. I don't think she's planning on it anyways. But like she likes urban legend and all those movies like that. I'd say like if you're bored at home and you can get a hold of, if you can like VOD this, Lana would probably have fun with it. I think I'd be very curious to hear what Bryson thinks about 47 Meters Down.
It's just a teen slasher movie in disguise. That's all it is.
But it's hard to tell you to go spend $17 at the movie theater to do this. Like even I spent like the $16 admission and then $20 on popcorn and a drink. Like it's crazy.
I would still do it. That's just me though.
Well, I did, and I had a great time, and I don't regret it. So that's where I'm at. All right, Buzi, it's great talking to you today. We're going to talk next week on the Tear Table. We're going to talk about Night of the Creeps with our boy Diego. So check us out on the Saskatchewan Podcast Network, which is currently sponsored by Connexus.
Okay.
What?
We didn't answer our question from last week.
One person responded.
No, there was a couple. We had a poll. We had people responding. Nobody likes spiders.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one likes spiders. That's what we came, because our question last week is would you rather get eaten by a spider or a snake? Seems like everybody was pretty much in line with me, saying snakes are cool. We could do the snake thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. People are dumb. They don't agree with me, so they're dumb. I'm going to quickly read off because apparently Daniel Epler was the only one who gave a shit about the HorrorCon one, so I'm going to read that off.
Thank you, Daniel.
He said, okay, now it's just here are my horror icons I want to meet at the convention. I picked all people I know are really nice because no matter how much I love them, I don't want to meet a grouch. Sam Neill. I want to meet him because this man is a treasure. By all accounts, he's the nicest guy in the world, and I just want my picture taken with him and his epic beard. I would have him sign a poster of In the Mouth of Madness, and I would tell him it's my favorite horror movie of the 90s. And you are a great man, Daniel. I love you so much.
I love that.
Next up, Sam Raimi. I think I would burst into tears if I came to face to face with Sam Raimi. Almost no one else has a bigger effect to me with their work. His horror films are some of the best, but his Spider-Man movies were the best things ever made when I was a kid. Spider-Man 2 is still the best superhero movie of all time. I agree with you. I've heard he's a great guy to meet, and I want to tell him how much his movies have impacted me. I would have him sign a poster of Drag Me to Hell, and I would tell him it's my favorite horror film of the 2000s.
Well, this guy's just telling everyone that it's his favorite shit.
Yeah, but no, he picked the 90s and then the 2000s, and you know what? I fucking agree with him. Tom Holland. This one is pretty simple. I just want to thank this man for Fright Night and tell him a little bit about what it means to me. I'd also love to chat with him a bit about Hammer vampire films, since Fright Night is so clearly a tribute to them. That would be the most fun conversation ever. I would have him sign a poster of Fright Night, and I would tell him it's my favorite movie. Your show is going amazing, guys. Keep up the great work, Daniel. I love you, Daniel. And shit, yeah, do I ever agree with you?
Do you have answers for that? Because I do.
You go first, and I'll think of mine right now.
Okay, because it was 3, right?
Yeah, I have mine.
Okay, so it was 3. First one, I'm going to say Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum. Did you see Seb's I know picture? Seb saw. I feel like just from everything I've ever seen with him, he seems like a genuinely nice, fun, really eccentric, but like super fun guy. I think he'd be a treat to meet. Sorry, that rhymed. I didn't mean it to rhyme. Next is, I think you've actually, you definitely have. Lance Henriksen seems like he is the nicest. I would love.
That's
to
your
meet.
top 3?
Yeah, dude.
Oh man, and I am here to tell you, he would not disappoint.
See, and that's the thing is we were picking like I'm not just picking like who I want just because I'd want to meet them, but because I would actually have a good interaction with him. Yeah, and just it sounds like Lance Henriksen would be gold. And then the last one is Nev Campbell.
Fuck, man, that is my number 4, and it is. I'm switching it up
because I had John Carpenter on my thing, but I know he would fucking hate me. Well, so that's why I don't want to meet him.
And that's the thing too is that John Carpenter. Obviously, I think John Carpenter would be my number 1. But I don't need to meet him
if
because I know that he's kind of sour.
Yeah, if he was like 40 years younger, but like had the same mentality, he would probably just tell me to fuck off and give me a wedgie.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, look at my Halloween shit. And yeah, like...
No, John Carpenter, like, without a doubt. And the same with, like, obviously my very first one would be Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
But he doesn't generally do Comic-Con, so I'm not even going to say Kurt Russell. But I would love to meet Kurt Russell. But, okay, so that you covered some good ground there, because John Carpenter, I would love to meet John Carpenter, but like I feel like I don't need to, because I also understand why he's a little bit sour.
He's met a million of us. He doesn't need to meet any more of us.
If he was still alive, my number one would be Wes Craven. I would love to meet Wes Craven, because he has made some of my favorite horror movies of all time, just like John Carpenter has. But Wes Craven has debatably had a bigger impact on me than John Carpenter in some ways, with Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream.
See, like if we were doing like posthumous, I would have loved to meet Bill Paxton. Yeah, I think he would have been fantastic.
Totally. And here's one. So, like, honestly, this sounds crazy, but probably my number one is Sigourney Weaver.
I had her on my list, but I don't know if she's super nice.
Oh, she is.
But look, what about like Jamie Lee Curtis? You don't want to meet Jamie Lee Curtis?
I would love to meet Jamie Lee Curtis, but not as much as Sigourney. Like, I love Halloween. But Alien is just like. Alien's a part of my childhood. It's a part of who I am today, and it's. I think that she is like the strongest epitome of a character in general. Like, she is just. I think her character in Alien is just so fucking incredible. I would love to meet Sigourney Weaver for many reasons. And Ghostbusters, like, there's so many things to do with Sigourney that I just love. I'd love to meet her. I know that a lot of people think that he's an asshole, and they have said that they didn't have a great experience when they're meeting him. But I also know a lot of people have had great experiences. I want to meet Bruce Campbell. You gotta
get him on a good day.
Yeah, but not only that, but I don't think that I would really care if he was that big of a prick to me, because I kind of know what to expect from Bruce Campbell. I just kind of want to be in the presence of a guy who had a part to do with one of my favorite movies of all time. That's Evil Dead. And I think he's the most charismatic and incredible people alive, especially in the horror genre. So Bruce Campbell. And then I got a ditto Daniel and Sam Raimi. I would love to meet Sam Raimi. I think Sam Raimi would probably be Sam Raimi or Tom Holland would be like number one, where like you could go and have a coffee with them, and just have the most thrilling, amazing conversation for as many hours as they would allow you to. You could just pick their brain, as many as they would allow you to. Like, I would love to sit down and talk to Sam Raimi. Drag Me to Hell was a big one for me as well. But, like, you know, like Daniel said, Spider-Man 2, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, fucking, I love his shit. And I just love him as a person. I will always, I love how grateful he is for his fans, and you can genuinely tell that whenever you listen to him talk. So I would love to meet Sam Raimi. But, yeah. Special shout out to Joe Dante, because Joe Dante would be a very big one for me. If I could ever meet Joe Dante, that would be amazing, because Gremlins 2, Small Soldiers, The Howling, Matinee, like, the guy has done so many things that played such a huge part in my childhood. So I know I gave 4 there, but
you gave so many.
Yeah.
Also, this is completely random.
I guess this
is my Christmas wish list. If by any chance anyone who's ever will or ever has listened to this podcast can meet Mike Flanagan for 5 minutes, can you just get a video? Like, just be like, can you just say this and we'll record it? Like, just send it to us of him just being like, "Hi, I'm Mike Flanagan and I wear a shirt in the pool." If that
ever happens, or even if he says, "I don't wear a shirt in the fucking pool," we will change our intro to just that every single week. We won't have an intro music. It'll
somebody
just be
pull
that.
some strings.
Fucking Christ. All right, man. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you guys next week on the Terror Table. Stay spooky.
All right, guys, if you've managed to stick around to the end, I think you're getting the hang of what's going on here. So, question of the week time. So this one is one that Mitch kind of broached before on the episode, but I think it's a really interesting one, and I'm hoping to have a better answer than I did, which was not existent at all at the time, is what movie would you like to hear a score from redone by a band? And you can pick whatever band you want, whatever
or
film.
musician,
Yeah, musician.
or singer, anything.
Yeah.
So, Lana, you can do Shawn Mendes to anything you want.
Like, you know, like to Jaws, because you haven't seen Jaws and I keep harassing you about it. Anywho, secondary question. This is kind of a bonus points. If you want to do this, if you really, really want to do this, because I think it would be a lot of fun, is write some Guillermo del Toro, Mitch
Erotic
fiction. So it doesn't have to be super long, but the longer the better, because I know we have some really creative people. With the Write Us a Shark thing, people did a great job.
This is where I know he's really busy, but I hope that Kent Blue hears this, because I would love to hear Kent Blue's Guillermo del Toro Mitch erotic fan fiction.
Yeah, so hit us
it's probably
with that.
nothing I've never thought of already myself before.
All right, so we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks.